Chapter 31, Chapter 31, Chapter 31 The Effect of Rejuvenating Skill I. Chapter 31, Chapter 31 The Effect of Rejuvenating Skill I. It wasn't long after Wang Qingkai entered Liu Chen's room that her voice could be heard. Chu Yukan, who was at the courtyard gate, said coldly upon hearing her voice, "How shameless!" Naturally, Chu Yukan wouldn't speak ill of her own Chener, so the only one she could be scolding was Wang Qingkai. As her words fell, Chu Yukan turned and left. She didn't want to keep eavesdropping at the wall, otherwise, she might not be able to stand it later on. Meanwhile, inside the room, after Liu Chen and Wang Qingkai fostered their emotional connection, the system notification tone sounded. Host and Wang Qingkai have fostered an emotional connection once, gaining 20 experience points for Qi Refinement Mantra. This emotional connection has triggered an emotional crit, awarding an additional 4.0 experience points. Rejuvenating skill gains 20 experience points and has broken through to the first layer. Upon hearing the system notification, Liu Chen was stunned for a moment, then filled with immense excitement in his heart. He had thought after Zhou Yuyu's pregnancy, breaking through to the 9th grade before the arrival of Blood Moon Tower would be difficult unless he pushed Chu Yukan away. Otherwise, Wang Qingkai alone could only provide him with 20 experience points a day, requiring at least 5 days. It was possible that they didn't even have 5 days before those people from Blood Moon Tower arrived at Yan County. But today, he had gained 60 experience points in one day. Emotional crit, that really was a wonderful thing. If he could have more emotional crits, wouldn't his realm advancement be even easier in the future? Just as Liu Chen was thinking this, he noticed his hand seemed to be emitting a green gas. What is this? Liu Chen lifted his right hand, embracing Wang Qingkai with his left now, and then took a serious look at his right hand. System, what's happening with my hand? This is the power of the rejuvenating skill. From now on, the host can use it to heal illnesses and injuries. After hearing the system's voice, Liu Chen lowered his right hand, wanting to try out the capacity of the rejuvenating skill. When his right hand touched Wang Qingkai's delicate body again, she couldn't help but let out a moan. "Prince, what are you doing? My waist feels so comfortable," she said. Upon hearing this, Liu Chen's eyes brightened. He hadn't expected that merely touching Wang Qingkai's body would immediately activate the rejuvenating skill. Soon, Liu Chen understood what was happening. It turned out that during the emotional crit earlier, he, overwhelmed with rage and too ferocious, accidentally injured Wang Qingkai's willowy waist. Now, the spiritual energy gathered in his right hand was helping to repair the muscular injuries inside Wang Qingkai's body, which is why she felt so comfortable. The rejuvenating skill was indeed excellent, it would allow him to quickly recover from minor injuries and illnesses in the future. At that moment, Liu Chen patted Wang Qingkai's bottom and said with a smile, "How does it feel to be a female slave to this prince?" Her cheeks flushing, her eyes filled with affection, Wang Qingkai replied, "Prince, please don't humiliate your servant like this." Wang Qingkai was uncertain about her future, but she had grown accustomed to being with Liu Chen. Although their relationship had only been cultivated a few times, she could no longer stay away from him. This bad man had not only captured her heart but had also conquered her entire being. Liu Chen then said, "Once I've dealt with Blood Moon Tower, you should move to the prince's mansion." Upon hearing this, Wang Qingkai was silent for a moment. To be honest, she, too, wanted to move to the prince's mansion and serve Liu Chen every day. But she thought of a problem: in front of the North Prince, could her value only be shown in bed? Even though both her body and heart belonged to the North Prince, Wang Qingkai didn't want to become a mere tool to satisfy his base desires. She wanted to show her worth in many ways in front of Liu Chen, only then could she go further, and only then would the North Prince value her, the female slave, more. Even when she grew old and her beauty faded, if she had made significant contributions to the prince's mansion, it was unlikely that the North Prince would cast her aside. With this thought, Wang Qingkai said, "Prince, I want to stay at 100 Flowers Tower forever, collecting intelligence for your highness." Upon hearing this, Lu Chen asked with puzzlement, "Don't you want to come to the prince's mansion and serve me?" Wang Qingkai quickly replied, "It's not like that. I just feel that if I were to come to the prince's mansion now, people would afterward recognize me as someone from the prince's mansion, and then I wouldn't be able to gather intelligence for your highness." After the assassination attempt by Blood Moon Tower concludes, Prince Lu Shiyun will certainly not let it rest. He might send someone to assassinate your highness again. If your highness has me, a chess piece, then no matter what Prince Lu Shiyun does, one could notify your highness immediately. Hearing what Wang Qingkai said, Lu Chen felt there was some truth to it. 100 Flowers Tower, being a place of pleasure, indeed made it easy to gather intelligence. Moreover, his brother Prince Lu Shiyun really might not let things rest. If he had Wang Qingkai, the Saintess of Misty Pavilion, perhaps he could monitor every move of Lu Shiyun in the future. This would also be a good thing for him. With that in mind, Lu Chen gently caressed Wang Qingkai's jade back and then said, "All right then, continue to stay at 100 Flowers Tower. If my brother Prince Lu Shiyun makes any moves in the future, notify me immediately." Seeing that Lu Chen agreed with her proposal, Wang Qingkai was very pleased inside. She had finally found an opportunity to demonstrate her value, an excellent beginning that also meant her worth was no longer just to be used for Lu Chen's amusement. The next day, after getting up in the morning and having a simple meal, Lu Chen went to find Chu Yukin. Chu Yukin was curious inside to see Lu Chen looking so spirited. Why is it that Lu Chen was entangled with women every day but seemed to suffer no significant detriment to his health? Logically, a man who engaged in the activities of men and women would lose vital energy. Indulgence in women is a taboo for those practicing martial arts. Martial artists often say, "Women only affect the speed with which I can draw my sword," and this saying did not come from nowhere. If one became addicted to the pleasures of women, it could indeed slow down a martial artist's reaction speed. Chu Yukin thought to herself, could it be that Lu Chen has some celestial fate which prevents him from being affected by such activities? Noticing Chu Yukin's beautiful eyes scanning him, Lu Chen said with a smile, "Madam Chu, is there something on me?" Chu Yukin, returning to her senses and realizing her own lapse, quickly coughed and said, "Chener, I've noticed you've been engaging in activities with women every day. Although continuing the family line is crucial, you should also take care of your body." Lu Chen replied with a smile, "Don't worry, Madam Chu, I'm aware of what I'm doing. By the way, Madam Chu, I came to you today because there's something one need to discuss." As he spoke, Lu Chen's expression turned serious. Lu Chen was like that, when it came to serious matters, he would not joke around. Seeing how serious Lu Chen looked, Chu Yukin knew there must be something important, so she asked, "Chener, is it regarding the prince's mansion?" Lu Chen nodded, "I've already sent for General Li Feng, I believe he will arrive at the prince's mansion shortly." Seeing that Lu Chen mentioned General Li Feng, Chu Yukin realized that what Lu Chen was about to discuss must be no trivial matter. At that moment, a maid came in from outside and said, "Prince, General Li has arrived." Lu Chen said, "Madam Chu, let's head to the training ground first." "Okay." With that, the two headed to the training ground of the prince's mansion. General Li Feng, clad in armor, was pacing around the training ground, his armor clanging. He was curious about what important matter the North Prince wanted to discuss with him at this time. Since arriving in North City, apart from commanding him to train troops, the North Prince seemed to be doing nothing else. Even opening shops was managed by the princess consort while the North Prince indulged himself in the inner quarters. Of course, General Li Feng always believed this was the North Prince's way of deceiving others, making people outside believe he was a wastrel prince. At this moment, General Li Feng couldn't help thinking, could it be that the North Prince was calling for him now because he felt the time was ripe to initiate his next plan? Chapter 32, Chapter 32, Chapter 32, A gift prepared for Blood Moon Tower _I. Chapter 32, Chapter 32, A gift prepared for Blood Moon Tower _I. After arriving at the training ground, Li Feng hurriedly approached to pay his respects and said, "This humble general pays his respects to Prince Liu Chen and has seen Madame Chu." Liu Chen nodded slightly, and then said, "Let's talk about the matter at hand. I've received intelligence that Blood Moon Tower has sent assassins to kill me. This time, they sent not only 5 9th grade experts, but the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower has also come personally." Upon hearing this, Li Feng's face changed abruptly, and then he asked, "Prince, are you certain the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower is coming in person?" Li Feng had heard of the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower, who was said to be at the half-step Grandmaster realm, which made him very worried. Liu Chen said, "If the intelligence is correct, he should have come personally." Chu Yukin thought for a moment, then said, "Blood Moon Tower really has the audacity to attempt to assassinate you time and again." Liu Chen said, "They wouldn't dare do this without someone backing them." Looking at Liu Chen, Li Feng asked tentatively, "Prince, what do you plan to do?" Li Feng knew that Liu Chen had weapons capable of easily killing 9th grade experts, so he believed that the North Prince shouldn't be afraid at all of the assassins sent by Blood Moon Tower. However, since Liu Chen sought him out, there must be some arrangement in mind. Liu Chen didn't answer immediately, but instead counter-asked, "General Li, have you completely taken control of North City's army?" Li Feng replied, "Prince, rest assured. Under my management, the military of North City has been fully aligned with the North Prince Mansion." Liu Chen said, "Good, since the people from Blood Moon Tower are coming, we should properly welcome them. By the way, General Li, call over the soldiers who escorted me to North City initially, I have something to discuss with you all." Upon hearing this, Li Feng asked cautiously, "Prince, under what pretext should I call them?" The over 100 soldiers were 3rd and 4th grade martial artists. Even though it was only somewhat over 100 3rd and 4th grade martial artists, in a place as impoverished as North City, these individuals counted as a formidable force. If all of them were to come to the North Prince Mansion, it would certainly spark curiosity among the people of Yan County. Moreover, many were watching the North Prince Mansion now. Since Liu Chen's arrival at North City, he had been indulging in daily pleasures. Suddenly summoning so many soldiers at this time was bound to raise suspicions about whether the North Prince Mansion was planning something significant. After pondering for a moment, Liu Chen said, "Just tell them that their families have arrived in North City. I'd like to take this opportunity to set up a grand feast to thank them for their escort along the way and to meet their relatives as well." Li Feng instantly understood Liu Chen's intention, and immediately said, "Understood, Prince, 111 go take care of it." Then Li Feng turned and left the North Prince Mansion. After Li Feng had gone, Chu Yukin looked at Liu Chen and said, "Chener, the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower is likely a half-step Grandmaster. I can probably hold him off, but as for the other 5 9th grade martial artists, I'm afraid it might be difficult to restrain all of them." Although the mysterious weapon Liu Chen had was indeed powerful, capable of instantly killing a 9th grade martial artist, if the opponents attacked together, Liu Chen might not be able to react in time. Chu Yukin was somewhat worried. The Blood Moon Tower's attempt to assassinate Liu Chen surely wouldn't involve just 6 people. Last time they had sent a considerable number of 3rd and 4th grade martial artists to assassinate him. This time coming to North City, they would inevitably send many 3rd and 4th grade martial artists as well. These 3rd and 4th grade martial artists were not the main force, but they could engage the people from the North Prince Mansion, making it hard for them to protect Liu Chen. Having experienced the previous incident, Chu Yukin had also realized the limits of her own power. Even though she could withstand the assault of a half-step Grandmaster, she couldn't hold back everyone. If it hadn't been for Liu Chen producing that mysterious weapon at the critical moment last time, she might have lost her Chener forever. Liu Chen understood what Chu Yukin was worried about and then said to her, "Madam Chu, wait until General Li returns, and I'll show you something." Hearing this, Chu Yukin became somewhat expectant, guessing that Liu Chen was going to show her a weapon, but she wondered what kind of weapon it was. Afterward, the prince's mansion began bustling with activity. When Musician heard that Liu Chen was going to host a banquet for the relatives of the soldiers who had escorted them to North City, she took the initiative to take charge of the matter. By noon, many people had entered the North Prince mansion. Seeing the hustle and bustle of carriages and visitors, the people grew curious, wondering if the North Prince had taken another concubine. As the main person in charge of Misty Pavilion in Yan County, Chen Yu noticed something amiss with so many coming and going at the North Prince mansion. She discreetly disguised herself and approached the entrance of the North Prince mansion, seeking information from someone familiar with the situation. "Excuse me, young master, is there some special occasion at the North Prince mansion today? Why is it so lively?" Hearing this question, the young man who had been enjoying the excitement in front of Chen Yu replied, "I heard that the North Prince is hosting a banquet to thank the soldiers and relatives who escorted him to North City." The young man then said quietly, "It's said that without those people, the North Prince would have died on his way to North City." After hearing the young man's answer, Chen Yu breathed a sigh of relief. So that was it. She had thought that the North Prince had already become suspicious. Blood Moon Tower was going to arrive in North City in a few days, and it would be troublesome if the North Prince detected even a hint of their plans now. Then Chen Yu returned to 100 Flowers Tower and reported today's events at the North Prince mansion to Wang Qingkai. After Wang Qingkai heard about the happenings at the North Prince mansion, she was somewhat puzzled. If Liu Chen was planning his strategy in advance, he wouldn't start this early, especially since the people from Blood Moon Tower hadn't arrived yet. Could it be that the North Prince really just wanted to thank those soldiers who escorted him to North City? Wang Qingkai always felt something was off, but now that she was one of the North Prince's people, she didn't need to probe too deeply into what the North Prince was planning. Besides, she had to attend to the North Prince at the North Prince mansion that night. To find out what the North Prince was doing, she just had to ask him later that evening. Noon. Liu Chen spoke a few words of thanks at the banquet, and then he let everyone eat and drink to their heart's content. At that moment, Li Feng came up to Liu Chen and said quietly, "Prince, everyone has arrived." Liu Chen nodded, then said, "After the meal, come to the back courtyard of the prince's mansion." As his words fell, Liu Chen started drinking with the soldiers, not showing any signs that he had important business with them afterward. After lunch, the drunk soldiers arrived at the back courtyard. Liu Chen said he wanted to reward them, but the soldiers weren't fools. They knew that the North Prince had something for them. Once in the back courtyard, Liu Chen glanced over these soldiers, whose loyalty was mostly above 80, considering them as his own people now. Chu Yukin, seeing everyone assembled, then asked, "Chener, what is it that you said you wanted to show us?" Liu Chen revealed a slight smile, then ordered several freshly slaughtered cows and sheep to be brought over and wrapped in fine armor. He then took out a grenade larger than an adult's fist and said to everyone, "Everyone, step back 50 paces." Upon hearing these words, without a second thought, everyone immediately retreated 50 steps. Subsequently, Liu Chen pulled the pin and threw the grenade. The next moment, an earth-shaking explosion sounded, startling the drunken soldiers sober, leaving their ears buzzing for a long while afterward. With the explosion of the grenade, a plume of white smoke rose in the distance, and countless holes appeared in the armor that had covered the cows and sheep. At the sight of this, the soldiers were stunned, standing rooted to the spot without daring to move. Heavenly thunder? Could their prince summon heavenly thunder? Could this be real? Was this something a person could do? Could it be that their prince was an immortal? Although some soldiers' minds were still clouded, Li Feng and Chu Yukin had already realized that the noise was caused by something in Liu Chen's hands. Even so, Li Feng and Chu Yukin were still immensely shocked. At this point, Liu Chen said, "All right, come over and take a look." As he spoke, Liu Chen walked towards the site of the explosion. Seeing their prince proceed, the soldiers quickly followed along. Chapter 33, Chapter 33, Chapter 33, Breakthrough to 9th Grade L. Chapter 33, Chapter 33, Breakthrough to 9th Grade L. Liu Chen's hand grenade was obtained from the newbie gift pack he had in the beginning. He had never used it before. To test the blast radius of these grenades, Liu Chen specially took one out for a trial explosion. The grenades from the newbie gift pack were much larger than the average hand grenade found on Earth, not designed for carrying on one's person, therefore, they were also more powerful. After Liu Chen approached the site of the explosion, he found that all the armors within a 10-meter radius had been pierced by the shards from the grenade's blast, and the bodies of cows and sheep were riddled with holes. The sight of the wounds on the cattle and sheep involuntarily filled the soldiers with dread, grateful that they had been a good distance away. If they had been any closer, their bodies would likely be full of bloody holes by now. At that moment, Liu Chen said to Chu Yukin and Li Feng, "General Li, Madam Chu, what do you think of the weapon one just used?" Li Feng immediately replied, "With such a divine artifact, the prince is sure to unify the entire world." No sooner had Li Feng finished speaking than the soldiers kneeled in unison and exclaimed in one voice, "We congratulate the prince on obtaining a divine artifact. The prince will definitely unify the world and inspire awe in all directions." Liu Chen was somewhat speechless. "Damn, a bunch of sycophants. All right, get up, all of you." Hearing Liu Chen's words, the soldiers promptly got to their feet. Chu Yukin then asked, "Chener, wasn't that thing just now a one-time use? Do you still have many of them?" Liu Chen replied, "Not many, just a few dozen, but we could make them ourselves once the conditions are right." Hearing Liu Chen's response, Chu Yukin was thrilled inside. With such a divine artifact, it would be much easier for Liu Chen to vie for that position in the capital city in the future. Like pulling a rabbit from a hat, Liu Chen then took out a grenade from his sleeve and said to Li Feng, "General Li, I'll teach you how to use this first. When the assassins from Blood Moon Tower come that day, use this to give them a warm welcome." "As you command, my prince." Then, Liu Chen taught Li Feng and the soldiers how to use the grenade, naturally without actually pulling the pin this time. After showing the soldiers how to use it, Liu Chen spoke to them. The North Prince was distributing rewards to the soldiers when heavenly thunder struck the prince's mansion, frightening the North Prince into hiding in his room all afternoon. Upon hearing Liu Chen's words, the soldiers immediately understood his intent. After all, the sound of the grenade's explosion was too loud, and the neighbors around the prince's mansion must have heard it. If they didn't find an excuse, it could potentially awaken suspicion among the people. As soon as Liu Chen finished speaking, he quickly had people tidy up the backyard, and then he returned to the front court. After Li Feng and the soldiers left the backyard, their relatives came forward, asking what had happened just now. Li Feng and the others all claimed heavenly thunder had struck the backyard just now, giving the prince quite a scare. As evening fell, the news that the North Prince mansion had been struck by heavenly thunder spread throughout Yan County, leading people to wonder if the North Prince had done something utterly heinous to deserve being struck by lightning. At the same time, 100 Flowers Tower. Wang Qingkai was lounging on the beauty couch in the loft, with her cloud attire loosely tied, displaying a very lazy demeanor. At that moment, Chen Yu arrived at the loft. "Madam Yu, what brings you here?" Wang Qingkai inquired first. Chen Yu replied, "Saintess, our people have found out that at noon, after the North Prince had his meal and was rewarding his soldiers, heavenly thunder struck from the sky, scaring the North Prince so much that he hid in his room and didn't come out all afternoon." Hearing this, Wang Qingkai smiled faintly, then rose from the beauty couch, showing a very interested look. "This is somewhat interesting. Did the North Prince sustain any injuries?" Wang Qingkai naturally did not believe that Liu Chen was actually scared by the heavenly thunder into hiding in his room for an entire afternoon without coming out. She only suspected that the North Prince was preparing something. The idea that someone could be scared by the heavenly thunder is obviously a diversion to shift people's attention. At this moment, Chen Yu said, "We don't know about that." Wang Qingkai said indifferently, "Then 111 go to the North Prince mansion again tonight to probe for some information." Hearing this, Chen Yu said with some concern, "Saintess, you go to the North Prince mansion every night. It's very easy for Chu Yukin to discover you. Before the people from Blood Moon Tower arrive, I think it's better for you not to go to the North Prince mansion for the time being." Wang Qingkai said, "You don't have to worry about that. I generally don't get near the inner courtyard, so Chu Yukin won't find out." Having said this, Wang Qingkai stood up, ready to change clothes and head to the North Prince mansion. In the dead of the night, a black figure appeared again in the inner courtyard of the North Prince mansion. At this time, Chu Yukin was still patrolling the inner courtyard. Because of the incident with the grenade during the day, she was worried that spies might come to gather information at the North Prince mansion, so she was extra diligent tonight. When she saw a black figure swaggering into the main courtyard of the North Prince mansion, Chu Yukin was about to take action, but then she heard the black-clad woman say with a chuckle, "This servant pays her respects to Madam Chu. Good evening to you, Madam." Hearing that it was Wang Qingkai's voice, Chu Yukin snorted coldly and said, "Remove your mask." Wang Qingkai unhesitatingly took off her mask, and after confirming Wang Qingkai's identity, Chu Yukin immediately turned and left, without any further words to Wang Qingkai. Watching Chu Yukin's retreating figure, the corners of Wang Qingkai's mouth turned up slightly, and then she muttered to herself, "It seems that Madam really dislikes me." As her words fell, Wang Qingkai walked toward Liu Chen's room. After entering the room, Wang Qingkai had planned to inquire if anything had happened at the prince's mansion during the day. However, before she could speak, her words were stopped by a kiss. Wang Qingkai was somewhat speechless. Although her opinion of the North Prince had greatly improved, she also found that the rumors about the North Prince being a womanizer were absolutely true. The term womanizer could no longer describe the North Prince. He was akin to a hungry ghost among the lustful. Wang Qingkai naturally did not know why Liu Chen was so eager. Liu Chen was only 30 experience points away from breaking through to the second layer of the Qi refinement mantra. He was of course very anxious. He could hardly wait to become a 9th grade martial artist. As his emotional cultivation with Wang Qingkai was completed, the system notification finally sounded. Host has cultivated feelings with Wang Qingkai once, Qi refinement mantra experience points increased by 20. Triggered an emotional crit, experience points increased by another 40. Qi refinement mantra breaks through to the second layer, rejuvenating skill experience points increased by 10. Congratulations to the host for advancing to the 9th grade realm. After hearing the system notification, Liu Chen finally calmed down. Then he felt a vast power surge into his body, making his body feel lighter in an instant and as if he had endless energy. Not only that, he found that his vision had become clearer and his brain was exceptionally alert. After enjoying the peculiar sensation of his realm advancement, Liu Chen couldn't help but feel moved. So this is what it's like to be a 9th grade martial artist. He had never imagined that one day he could become a 9th grade martial artist. When he was in the capital city, he always thought he would just lie down for the rest of his life, remaining an ordinary person, because he had no talent for martial arts and couldn't endure the hardships of martial training. Unexpectedly, after gaining the system, he broke through to the 9th grade in less than half a year. How wonderful! With the enhancement of his personal strength, he now had some ability to protect himself. In the future, he could consider going out to explore and plan the development direction of North City. Chapter 34, Chapter 34, Chapter 34 Dark and Windy Night Eye. Chapter 34, Chapter 34 Dark and Windy Night Eye. A few days later. 100 Flowers Tower. Today, many customers arrived at the entrance of 100 Flowers Tower only to find the doors tightly shut, with a sign placed at the doorway. The sign bore a message that the 100 Flowers Tower would be temporarily closed for renovations in preparation for the Warren contest happening in half a month. This sort of event was not unusual. The reason 100 Flowers Tower could maintain its status as the liveliest place in Yan County was precisely because of its constant upgrades and renovations, always offering fresh and exciting experiences to its customers. Moreover, with each upgrade and renovation, a number of beautiful young women would arrive, and the anticipation for this renovation stimulated the clientele of the 100 Flowers Tower. Of course, this renovation of 100 Flowers Tower was not a true renovation but because the guests from Blood Moon Tower had arrived. At this moment, upstairs in the 100 Flowers Tower, a man wearing a bamboo hat was gazing in the direction of the North Prince Mansion. Wang Qingkai sat on a divan with her slender legs crossed, with her derriere slightly indenting the couch. Lu Yuan spoke at this moment. "Thank you, Miss Wang, for giving me the opportunity to take revenge with my own hands." In Lu Yuan's eyes, if Misty Pavilion wanted to move against the North Prince, without that mysterious Grand Master, it was entirely possible for them to kill the North Prince. But they had not taken action and were waiting until the arrival of Blood Moon Tower's guests to start discussing how to assassinate the North Prince, which presented an opportunity for Blood Moon Tower to act. Wang Qingkai said with a smile, "Tower Master Lu, I did not wait until today for your sake, but to ensure that this assassination can be executed without fail." Lu Yuan said, "No matter how Miss Wang sees it, objectively you have still provided me with an opportunity." At this moment, Lu Yuan was burning with the desire to charge into the North Prince Mansion and behead the North Prince personally. It was possible that his younger brother, Lu Tong, had been killed by the mysterious Grand Master of the North Prince Mansion, but he still attributed this debt to the North Prince. The reason was simple. Firstly, he might not be a match for that mysterious Grand Master, and secondly, since Lu Tong died attempting to assassinate the North Prince, it was related to the North Prince. Since the mysterious Grand Master could neither be found nor defeated, venting his anger by killing the North Prince was the only option. Originally, he thought that the task of assassinating the useless prince would be easy, so he sent his own brother. However, the next time he saw Lu Tong, his brother's body was already charred. If the North Prince did not die at his hands, his deep-seated hatred would be difficult to quell. At this time, Wang Qingkai asked, "Tower Master Lu, are you planning to take action tonight?" Lu Yuan said, "Yes, I can hardly wait to decapitate the North Prince and appease the spirit of my brother in heaven." Wang Qingkai said, "Very well, tonight, our Misty Pavilion will fully support Blood Moon Tower. If there is anything you need, Tower Master Lu, just let us know." Lu Yuan asked, "Miss Wang, just to be sure, could you confirm once more that the mysterious Grand Master following the North Prince to the Prince's mansion has indeed left?" Wang Qingkai said with a smile, "I have visited the Prince's mansion multiple times just to investigate this matter. According to the intelligence I've gathered, it seems that the mysterious Grand Master has indeed left the Prince's mansion and returned to the Chu family." Lu Yuan said, "If that's the case, then nothing could be better." Wang Qingkai continued with a smile, "Tower Master Lu, even if the intelligence collected by our Misty Pavilion might be false, you need not worry too much. Even if the mysterious Grand Master returns to the North Prince Mansion, with your strength, holding him off should be no problem. While you keep him occupied, we can certainly take care of the North Prince." After a moment's thought, Lu Yuan found Wang Qingkai's words sensible. After all, this time they had 5 ninth-grade martial artists and 1 half-step Grand Master. If you exclude that mysterious Grand Master, the North Prince Mansion has only 1 ninth grade, Chu Yukan. A single 9th grade simply cannot hold back 6 ninth grades. So, tonight the North Prince is doomed to die. Even if that mysterious Grand Master comes, it will be of no use. At this moment, Wang Qingkai pulled out a map of the North Prince Mansion, this is the map of the North Prince Mansion. Tonight, during our operation, our Misty Pavilion's people will directly head to the back courtyard to block North Prince's escape routes. As for the affairs of the front courtyard, we will leave them to Blood Moon Tower to handle. What do you think about this plan, Vice Tower Master Lu? If Vice Tower Master Lu has any other ideas, feel free to propose them. Lu Yuan thought for a moment, and then said, very well, let's do as Miss Wang has said. However, if Chu Yukan tries to stop me at that time, could I trouble Miss Wang to hold her off for a moment, so that I can take the North Prince's head? Chu Yukan was a difficult person to deal with. If she came out to stop him from killing Liu Chen, he might need some time to get rid of her entanglement. Although he could have other 9th grade assassins kill Liu Chen, Lu Yuan much preferred to do it himself. Wang Qingkai said, there is no problem with that. After that, Wang Qingkai added, all right, then let's each make our preparations. Meanwhile, in the North Prince Mansion, when Blood Moon Tower arrived at the 100 Flowers Tower, Liu Chen received the message passed on by Wang Qingkai, and immediately began arranging troops and setting up an ambush within the prince's mansion. This time, he distributed a total of 20 grenades to the soldiers, which was completely sufficient to deal with Lu Yuan and his men. And they were not to throw grenades immediately. First, they would wait until Blood Moon Tower's people entered the ambush circle before the soldiers would shoot arrows. If they were well ambushed, even if the realm of people coming with Lu Yuan was at least 3rd or 4th grade, most of them would be shot to death by arrows. The grenades were mainly for dealing with those 5 9th grade assassins and the Vice Tower Master of Blood Moon Tower. In order to prevent his 3 pregnant wives, including Mu Zixuan, from being frightened, Liu Chen had moved them to a hidden passage within the prince's mansion ahead of time. Once everything was ready, it was just a matter of waiting for nightfall. The cold night wind howled. There was no moon or stars tonight, thick clouds accumulated overhead, as if the sky were about to collapse. At this time, the entire North Prince Mansion was eerily quiet, with nothing but the sound of the wind. Time passed, and then, a group of people dressed in black burst directly through the main gate of the prince's mansion. When Lu Yuan and his men entered the prince's mansion, they found not a single person at the gate, not even a patrolling trusted aide. This made Lu Yuan feel a sudden sense of unease. It was impossible for such a large prince's mansion to have no guards at all. It's possible that the North Prince had gotten wind of their arrival and escaped in advance. At that moment, Lu Yuan didn't even consider the possibility of the North Prince Mansion setting up an ambush for them. After all, the 9th grade martial artists they brought this time were numerous, and they didn't take a mere prince's mansion seriously at all. In Lu Yuan's view, even if the North Prince Mansion knew they were coming, the North Prince would only be scared into fleeing, not setting up an ambush for them. Unless the North Prince had lost his mind, he wouldn't do such a thing. At this point, Lu Yuan's face darkened. If the North Prince really had escaped, then killing the North Prince might take some more time. The capital city couldn't wait, and he himself didn't want to waste any more time. Then Lu Yuan said to his subordinates, "Search for me. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, find the North Prince for me." Chapter 35, Chapter 35, Chapter 35 Immortal. There's an immortal in the North Prince Mansion, _I. Chapter 35, Chapter 35 Immortal. There's an immortal in the North Prince Mansion, _I. As Lu Yuan gave the order, the people of Blood Moon Tower immediately flooded into North Prince Mansion. Just as the members of Blood Moon Tower arrived at the training ground, countless arrows came flying from the sky. At this moment, someone shouted loudly, "Tower Master! We've been tricked!" Watching the rain of arrows from the sky, Lu Yuan wasn't the slightest bit panicked. He just snorted coldly and said, "It's nothing but a last-ditch struggle." 9th grade martial artists couldn't be killed by mere arrow rain, not to mention that he himself was a half-step grandmaster who could already project his inner strength externally. These arrows had no way of hitting him, and even if they did, they couldn't cause him any harm. In his eyes, such ambush and sneak attacks were nothing but petty moves. Lu Yuan immediately said, "Close in on me right now." Hearing this, the Blood Moon Tower's members quickly turned back to back, then swung the swords in their hands non-stop, fending off the arrows raining down from the sky. Liu Chen was completely stunned by this scene. Damn it, so this is the world where martial arts exist? The last time he came to North City to pay tribute, he was inside the carriage and did not witness his trusted aides defending against the arrow rain. The scene today was extremely shocking to him. Without using shields, but just the swords in their hands, they actually managed to fend off the skyfall of arrows? Although some were unable to completely block and were shot dead, most of the people from Blood Moon Tower survived. The scene today also made Liu Chen realize how important the fragmentary hand grenades the system gave him were. If it weren't for the grenades, they would probably have no way to deal with the assassins of Blood Moon Tower with the few people they had in the prince's mansion. At this moment, Liu Chen also felt a sense of relief, thankful that the newbie gift pack from the system included modern lethal weapons like grenades. As the prince's mansion soldiers finished shooting their arrows, Lu Yuan looked at the distant rooftops with scorn and said, "Is this the extent of arrows? Do you really think this will kill us? Is North Prince being too naive?" Liu Chen had no intention of wasting words with Lu Yuan. He directly told Li Feng and the others, "Don't bother with them. Just throw the grenades, pull the safety pins and wait for 3 breaths." Hearing this, Li Feng and the others quickly took out the grenades from their bosoms. At this moment, the soldiers holding the grenades couldn't help but tremble, as they had witnessed the power of this weapon. They were terrified that they might accidentally fail to throw the grenades. If they didn't manage to throw them, they would likely be the ones to die. Seeing the soldiers so nervous, Liu Chen said, "Don't worry, it won't explode on you." No sooner had Liu Chen's words fallen than Li Feng pulled the pin off the grenade in his hand, and after holding it for less than 2 seconds, he forcefully threw the grenade into the crowd of Blood Moon Tower. Though Li Feng was a 7th grade martial artist, he was also very nervous when using lethal weapons like grenades. Originally, Liu Chen had wanted them to detonate the grenades in midair, as no one knew if those martial artists could kick the grenades back. If that happened, they would be the ones in trouble. Fortunately, when Li Feng's grenade landed among the crowd, Lu Yuan and the others thought nothing of it. They even assumed it was just a stone thrown by the North Prince mansion and easily dodged Li Feng's thrown grenade. Lu Yuan mocked again, saying, "Ha ha ha, has North Prince mansion become so poor that they have no arrows and can only throw stones?" However, as soon as Lu Yuan's words finished, a huge blast exploded in the midst of the crowd. Boom! With a puff of white smoke, those around were either dead or injured, and the scene was filled with wailing. After seeing this, the people from Blood Moon Tower were scared stiff, unable to react for a long while. It was not until the second grenade exploded among the crowd that the martial artists of Blood Moon Tower started to flee in panic, as if crazed. "My God! Heavenly thunder! Run, the North Prince mansion has someone who can summon heavenly thunder. An immortal! There's an immortal in the North Prince mansion." Watching the Blood Moon Tower members scatter, Lu Yuan clenched his broadsword tightly and roared with all his might, "Stop right there! Whoever flees, one will kill." Before Lu Yuan could finish speaking, a prince's mansion soldier threw a grenade toward Lu Yuan's position. Lu Yuan wasn't a fool, he had realized that this thing was what caused the explosion just now. Although he didn't know why it had such great destructive power, he was very clear that it was dangerous. Lu Yuan quickly pushed against the ground with his legs, and his body retreated 10 steps back. Still, when the grenade exploded, a shrapnel grazed past his leg, blasting flesh and blood from his limb. Lu Yuan was considered one of the luckier ones, as the 9th grade martial artist closest to him had collided directly with a hand grenade, instantly blown open with more than a dozen bloody holes. Upon witnessing this scene, Lu Yuan's body started trembling uncontrollably. Without a doubt, he was scared. He had never seen such a strange weapon before. It looked just like a stone, yet when it exploded, it was able to kill a 9th grade martial artist instantly. This completely overturned his understanding. He had never heard of such a weapon. How could such a weapon possibly exist in this world? If that dynasty possessed such a murderous tool, they would have likely unified the world a long time ago. At the same time, in the back courtyard of the prince's mansion, when Wang Qingkai and the people of 100 Flowers Tower arrived at the back courtyard of the prince's mansion, they too heard the thunderous explosions. Upon hearing those sounds, Wang Qingkai paused momentarily. At that moment, Chen Yu said beside her, "Saintess, it looks like it's going to rain soon, which should help cover our movements." Chen Yu thought the rumbling was thunder, but Wang Qingkai clearly thought otherwise. Although the night sky was indeed overcast with heavy clouds, the sound was clearly not coming from the heavens above, plus there was a significant echo. Something must have happened in the front courtyard. It seemed the North Prince had quite a few secrets. At this moment, one of the assassins from Misty Pavilion suddenly alerted, "Saintess, there are people." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone from 100 Flowers Tower became instantly alert. They had come to the back door of the prince's mansion mainly to block the North Prince's escape route. So the presence of people at the back door meant that North Prince and his party were planning to flee. Just as the people from Misty Pavilion thought they were about to see the underlings of North Prince Mansion making their escape, they saw a beautiful woman dressed in a green cloud attire with her hair done up in a cloud bun, slowly walking to the back courtyard door. The people from Misty Pavilion immediately recognized the woman, who was none other than the 9th grade expert Chu Yukin of North Prince Mansion. Seeing Chu Yukin appearing in the back courtyard, Chen Yu and the other assassins from Misty Pavilion were dumbfounded. A 9th grade expert like Chu Yukin not protecting the North Prince at his side, what was she doing running to the back courtyard at a time like this? What was going on? Suddenly, a bad premonition surged in everyone's hearts. Chu Yukin asked coldly, "It's so late, where does Miss Wang plan to go?" Wang Qingkai replied with a beaming smile, "This servant came to North Prince Mansion, of course, to attend to the prince." Chu Yukin snorted coldly and said, "Does attending to Chen require so many people?" At this point, Chen Yu stepped forward proactively. She quickly moved in front of Wang Qingkai, "Saintess, you should go to the front courtyard to see what's happening. I have a bad feeling, let me hold her off." Before Chen Yu could finish her sentence, she felt a chill on her back, followed by a piercing pain that swept through her entire body. Chen Yu looked down slightly, hardly believing the sword blade embedded in her chest. She turned her head only to find out that it was Wang Qingkai who had attacked her. "Saintess, you!" Wang Qingkai then pulled out her sword, and before Chen Yu could finish speaking, she fell to the ground unconscious. Seeing this, the assassins from Misty Pavilion were dumbstruck. In their wildest dreams, they never imagined their saintess would turn on their own at a time like this. At this moment, Wang Qingkai spoke again to Chu Yukin, "Madam Chu, I will have to trouble you to help this servant get rid of these people and not let them escape." Hearing Wang Qingkai's words, the assassins of Misty Pavilion weren't fools, and they quickly realized that Wang Qingkai had betrayed Prince Liu Shiyun. One of them shouted loudly, "Everyone, run! We must spread the news of the saintess's betrayal." As soon as he finished speaking, the assassins of Misty Pavilion fled in several directions. At that moment, Chu Yukin merely cast a cold glance around. Soon, there were over a dozen additional corpses at the back door of the prince's mansion. Chapter 36, Chapter 36, Chapter 36 Brother, times have changed. Chapter 36, Chapter 36 Brother, times have changed. After dealing with the assassins from Misty Pavilion, Chu Yukin and Wang Qingkai headed to the training ground together. Wang Qingkai was somewhat curious as to why Chu Yukin would dare leave the North Prince at such a time. Although she knew that the North Prince might be somewhat capable, after all, Blood Moon Tower had sent so many 9th grade martial artists, and there was even a half-step grandmaster among them. Could it be that Chu Yukin was not at all worried about her Chener being killed? Or did Chu Yukin think that Liu Chen was fully capable of dealing with the assassins from Blood Moon Tower? Had the strength of the North Prince Mansion really become so strong? While Wang Qingkai was filled with questions, they had already arrived at the Prince's Mansion's training ground. Seeing the people from Blood Moon Tower surrounded on the training ground, Wang Qingkai froze in place. At this time, the corpses littered the training ground, but these bodies all belonged to the assassins from Blood Moon Tower. Currently, only 2 9th grade along with Blood Moon Tower's Vice Tower Master Lu Yuan were still alive. But their situation was very bad. The 3 of them were covered in blood, and it was clear that the 2 surviving 9th grade martial artists were seriously injured. If they weren't treated promptly, death wasn't likely far away. It hadn't been that long. Had the soldiers of the North Prince Mansion really captured all the assassins sent by Blood Moon Tower in one fell swoop? Wang Qingkai felt as if she was dreaming. She knew the North Prince Mansion might have some strength, but she had never anticipated that the North Prince Mansion could resolve the situation with the assassins from Blood Moon Tower in such a short period of time. That was 5 9th grades. And a half-step grandmaster too. Even if the North Prince Mansion truly had a Master Realm powerhouse, it shouldn't have been possible to resolve so many people in less than a quarter of an hour, right? How did the North Prince Mansion do it? At this moment, Wang Qingkai turned her head to look at Liu Chen, who was walking towards the training ground from afar. If she wanted to know how the North Prince Mansion did it, she would probably have to wait and personally ask the North Prince later. During this time, Lu Yuan, supporting his injured body with a sword planted in the ground, clenched his teeth and said with a cold laugh when he saw the North Prince slowly emerge from the crowd, "North Prince, I didn't expect you to be the one who's been hiding the deepest. It seems the whole world has been deceived by you." At this moment, Lu Yuan had lost his earlier sharpness. It hadn't been long, but almost all of his people had perished, leaving only 3 seriously injured people. The kind of weapon that the North Prince Mansion had just brought out, let alone a half-step grandmaster, one fear even a true grandmaster might not be able to fully withstand it. He had never dreamed that one day he would actually fall at the hands of a worthless prince. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Liu Chen said indifferently, "Tower Master Lu, do you have any last words? Later, when this prince annihilates Blood Moon Tower, perhaps I can convey your last words to your Tower Master." Lu Yuan laughed loudly, "Impertinent brat, since you want to kill me, then I shall take you down with me." As he spoke, Lu Yuan suddenly drew the sword planted in the ground and charged straight at Liu Chen. A fierce and proud smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face. Had the North Prince not come out earlier, he certainly wouldn't have been able to kill the North Prince. But the North Prince should not have, at this time, come out to mock him. At such a close distance, and being a half-step grandmaster, although he was seriously injured, it was still possible to kill a worthless person. Seeing this scene, Wang Qingkai's complexion changed drastically, and she cried out, "Oh no!" Just when Wang Qingkai thought Liu Chen was in danger, she found that the people around her remained motionless. The soldiers of the prince's mansion and Chu Yukin just stood in place, quietly watching the scene unfold, as if they hadn't seen Lu Yuan's intention to perish together with Liu Chen. Wang Qingkai was stunned. She didn't understand why the soldiers of the prince's mansion and Chu Yukin were reacting so calmly. Lu Yuan was a half-step grandmaster. Even if he was seriously injured, taking a high-level 9th grade with him before dying wouldn't be a problem. Yet the people of the prince's mansion were indifferent to the scene. Soon, Wang Qingkai understood why the people of the prince's mansion had no reaction to the scene whatsoever. At that moment, she saw Liu Chen take out a black stick-like weapon and aim it at Lu Yuan, who was charging towards him. Seeing the stick in Liu Chen's hand, Lu Yuan laughed loudly, "A mere worthless prince dares to face me alone in combat. Do you think that because one am seriously injured, one can no longer kill you?" Lu Yuan saw that no one around him moved, and when he saw Liu Chen pull out a stick, he even thought Liu Chen had gone mad, wishing to end his own life. While speaking, Lu Yuan had already arrived in front of Liu Chen. "Go to hell for this seat!" As Lu Yuan's sword was about to chop down on Liu Chen, Wang Qingkai's heart leapt into her throat. However, at that moment, what she feared did not happen. Suddenly, a loud noise erupted, followed by Liu Chen stepping back. Bang! The instant the gunshot sounded, Liu Chen smiled and said, "Old chap, the times have changed." The next moment, Lu Yuan's body instantly flew out, and a huge bloody hole appeared in his back. Witnessing this scene, Wang Qingkai was completely stunned. What had just happened? And what was that loud noise? She had only seen Lu Yuan swing his sword at North Prince, then North Prince, holding a stick, faced Lu Yuan, after which Lu Yuan was flung away, with a huge bloody hole appearing in his body. North Prince hadn't even moved, yet Lu Yuan died? Wang Qingkai was no fool, she quickly realized that it was the black stick in Liu Chen's hand that had killed Lu Yuan. Wang Qingkai's mind was bewildered. A half-step Grandmaster. Just like that, dead? What kind of weapon did North Prince have in his hand that was so terrifying? Could there really be such a weapon in this world that could instantly kill a half-step Grandmaster? Wang Qingkai's mind quickly connected all recent events. She finally understood why Blood Moon Tower's first assassination attempt had failed. And she finally comprehended why North Prince was not at all afraid of Blood Moon Tower's assassination attempts. At the same time, she realized why the soldiers of North Prince Mansion, including Chu Yukin herself, were indifferent to North Prince's danger. Where was the danger for North Prince? The one in danger was Lu Yuan. A half-step Grandmaster, with just a glance at North Prince, had a huge bloody hole appear in his body instantaneously. With such a weapon in hand, North Prince need not fear any half-step Grandmaster. Not to mention a half-step Grandmaster, perhaps even a Grandmaster couldn't withstand that mysterious weapon. Seeing the black stick in Liu Chen's hand again, Wang Qingkai unconsciously broke out in cold sweats on her pristine forehead. That black stick seemed to emanate a thick scent of blood, causing Wang Qingkai's delicate body to shiver uncontrollably. In fact, it wasn't just Wang Qingkai who was shocked by the scene, even Li Feng and others who had previously seen Liu Chen use the batrille to snipe a 9th-grade martial artist were equally stunned. The last time Blood Moon Tower had attempted to assassinate North Prince's target was only a 9th-grade martial artist. But this time, the one dead at North Prince's hand was a half-step Grandmaster. A half-step Grandmaster. This was an existence that even the court would try to win over. Moreover, the previous grenade hadn't even killed this half-step Grandmaster of Blood Moon Tower. But in front of North Prince, before North Prince's mysterious weapon, killing this half-step Grandmaster was just a matter of an instant. Seeing the huge bloody hole in Lu Yuan's back, nearly everyone felt a chill down their spine. For a moment, the training ground was as silent as a graveyard at night, until the pleas for mercy from the remaining 2 9th-grade martial artists of Blood Moon Tower broke the silence, bringing people back to their senses. Chapter 37, Chapter 37, Chapter 37, The North Prince through Wang Qingkai's IC. Chapter 37, Chapter 37, The North Prince through Wang Qingkai's IC. The 2 surviving 9th-grade martial artists of the Blood Moon Guild completely lost their will to resist when they saw Lu Yuan instantly killed by the North Prince using a mysterious weapon. Even a half-step Grandmaster had been killed by the North Prince as easily as slaughtering a chicken, so what resistance could they, 2 9th-grade martial artists, possibly muster? That was a half-step Grandmaster. A half-step Grandmaster who was just one step away from becoming a Grandmaster. Let alone a Grandmaster, even for a Grandmaster, it's not easy to instantly kill a half-step Grandmaster. Yet, the North Prince, who was rumored to be nothing but useless, eliminated him in an instant. "Prince, please spare our lives, this humble one was threatened by Lu Yuan to come here, this humble one never had the intention to oppose the prince," they pleaded. "Prince, have mercy, this humble one knows the hiding places of the Blood Moon Guild. If the prince wishes to eradicate the Blood Moon Guild, this humble one can lead the way." As they spoke, the two 9th grade martial artists from the Blood Moon Guild kowtowed incessantly, their blood already congealing their hair together. Witnessing this scene, Wang Qingkai's heart was filled with mixed emotions. Once, she had thought that 9th grade martial artists were extremely powerful, especially after she herself became a 9th grade martial artist. She believed that she could one day break free from the Misty Pavilion and the Wang family with her own strength. But now, being 9th grade seemed so trivial. Not to mention 9th grade, even the status of a half-step grandmaster might drastically decline in the future. With these thoughts, Wang Qingkai once again glanced at the black staff in Liu Chen's hands. With that mysterious weapon, any half-step grandmaster would be no different from an ordinary person. If the North Prince Mansion could mass-produce the same type of weapons, the entire martial arts world might very well be overturned. At this moment, Wang Qingkai seemed to have foreseen the collapse of the martial arts world and the North Prince unifying the entire continent. At that time, Li Feng said to Liu Chen, "Prince, should we keep these two? Maybe they can help us locate the Blood Moon Guild." After thinking for a moment, Liu Chen then asked, "General Li, can you guarantee that these two 9th grade martial artists won't escape?" Li Feng replied, "Your Highness, we can lock down their pipa bones with hooks to prevent them from using their skills." Liu Chen said with a smile, "General Li, what I asked was whether you could ensure that these two 9th grade martial artists wouldn't escape." Li Feng fell silent. Of course, he couldn't guarantee this. Even if they hooked these two people's pipa bones, they could still potentially find ways to escape, given they were 9th grade martial artists. Seeing Li Feng's silence, Liu Chen could practically confirm that even Li Feng couldn't be sure of preventing their escape without fail. Although he had a 9th grade and a half-step grandmaster by his side, one was Wang Qingkai and the other was Chu Yukan. He couldn't possibly have them watch over the assassins from the Blood Moon Guild. If Li Feng and the rest were to watch these assassins, with Li Feng being a 7th grade, and the remaining soldiers being 3rd and 4th grade, they might not be able to stop them if the assassins of the Blood Moon Guild really broke free. So, to be safe, it was better to dispose of these two. With that thought, Liu Chen, without saying another word, conjured the Desert Eagle out of his sleeve like magic, aimed it at the two 9th grade martial artists, and fired 2 shots, bang, bang. The last 2 assassins sent by the Blood Moon Guild fell to the ground. With that, all assassins sent by the Blood Moon Guild were wiped out, and Prince Liu Shiyun's plan failed once again. Seeing the 2 fallen 9th grade experts, the soldiers couldn't help but swallow hard. If it were before, one 9th grade could defeat 50 of them. Under normal circumstances, these 2 9th grade experts would have been wholly capable of killing all of them, over 100 soldiers. But now, 2 9th grade experts had been easily executed by their prince. The weapon in the prince's hands was terrifying. They didn't dare to imagine what would happen if that kind of weapon were used on them in the future. At this moment, Li Feng and the others felt immensely relieved that they had been wise to stay in the North City. If they had chosen to return to the capital city, let alone whether they could have made it out of Yan County. Even if they had made it back to the capital city, when the North Prince rose to power, they would likely have to face those mysterious weapons in the hands of the North Prince directly. Every time the soldiers thought about the previous grenade explosion, their bodies would involuntarily begin to tremble. At that moment, Wang Qingkai stared intensely at the Desert Eagle in Liu Chen's hands. She had initially thought that the North Prince only had that long black weapon and was shocked to discover that the North Prince also possessed a mysterious weapon capable of easily killing a 9th grade martial artist. How could the North Prince possess such a terrifying weapon? Where on earth did these weapons come from? Wang Qingkai was very certain that such dreadful weapons did not exist in this world, otherwise, the martial arts world would have been in chaos long ago. It was at this moment that Liu Chen turned his head to look at Wang Qingkai. Wang Qingkai's delicate frame shivered slightly, and her mind went blank. With just one look from Liu Chen, Wang Qingkai felt overwhelmed with fear. In her heart, the North Prince had become synonymous with a god of death and mystery. Liu Chen said with a smile, "Qingkai, how do you plan to deal with the people from the Misty Pavilion?" Liu Chen had only subdued Wang Qingkai, therefore, he had no intention of sparing the remaining people from Misty Pavilion. Elements that could not be fully controlled were best eliminated entirely. He had not yet grown strong enough to contend with the whole world, so he still needed to act with caution and care. Upon hearing Liu Chen's question, Wang Qingkai immediately replied, "Your Highness, please rest assured, one have already taken care of them all with the help of Madame Chu." Liu Chen was somewhat surprised to hear Wang Qingkai's answer. Truthfully, he had not expected Wang Qingkai to be capable of such action, especially since she was the saintess of the Misty Pavilion and had grown up there since childhood. Chu Yukin then spoke up, "Chener, what do you plan to do next?" Even though they had just thwarted another assassination attempt by Blood Moon Tower, Chu Yukin did not believe that Blood Moon Tower would just let it go. This time, their Vice Tower Master had died at the North Prince Mansion, and Blood Moon Tower was notorious for seeking vengeance. It was certain they would come back for revenge. The situation at the Prince's mansion remained precarious. After pondering for a moment, Liu Chen then said, "Let word of today's events spread. Say that the mysterious Grand Master of the Prince's mansion has not left, and with the help of the mansion's Grand Master, we have foiled another assassination by Blood Moon Tower." Liu Chen was not yet ready to let the world know about his Desert Eagle and Batrilay, so for now, he could only use the mysterious Grand Master to deter those who harbored enmity towards the Prince's mansion. Chu Yukin contemplated for a moment and agreed that Liu Chen's approach was sound. "Chener, you should go see Zixuan and the others. Leave everything here to us," she said. Mu Zixuan and the sisters from the Zhou family were still in the tunnel, likely already aware of the commotion above the mansion and probably very worried. Thus, Chu Yukin wanted Liu Chen to check on them first. All three women, Mu Zixuan included, were pregnant and should not be overly frightened. Liu Chen simply said okay, and then turned to leave. At the same time, inside the tunnel of the prince's mansion, Mu Zixuan and the Zhou sisters looked anxiously toward the top of the tunnel. Zhou Xiaoxiao then said to Mu Zixuan, "Sister Mu, the prince will be okay, won't he?" Zhou Xiaoxiao and Zhou Yuyu had experienced the devastation of their family being wiped out, so they were particularly sensitive to such matters. They didn't want to return to their previous way of life. To them, the North Prince was their sky, and if something happened to the North Prince, their world would collapse. Mu Zixuan reassured, "Don't worry, the prince will definitely be all right." Although Mu Zixuan had not personally witnessed Liu Chen using the mysterious weapon to kill a 9th-grade martial artist last time, she had heard about it from her trusted aides afterward. Therefore, she firmly believed that the man she married was not ordinary, and he would surely be able to deal with the assassination attempts from Blood Moon Tower with ease. They just needed to wait here. Just then, a tall and majestic man entered the tunnel. Seeing that it was Liu Chen, Zhou Xiaoxiao and Zhou Yuyu rushed to embrace him without hesitation. "Thank goodness, Your Highness, you're all right. Sob sob sob, you've scared us to death." Liu Chen patted Zhou Yuyu and Zhou Xiaoxiao on their backs and said with a smile, "All right, it's over. Everything's fine now." Chapter 38, Chapter 38, Chapter 38 Rumors in the Capital City I. Chapter 38, Chapter 38 Rumors in the Capital City I. Early in the morning, the military forces of North City sealed off Yan County. On the streets, soldiers were coming and going on nearly every road. Seeing this scene, the common people were so scared that they hurriedly ran towards their homes. At the same time, the entrance to the prefectural government was surrounded by a group of soldiers. Li Rui had not yet risen from his bed when he heard his wife enter the room in a panic, shouting loudly, "My lord, something terrible has happened. There's been an incident." Hearing his wife's voice, Li Rui got up from the bed, dazed, and asked, "My lady, what has happened?" Lady Li quickly said, "A group of soldiers has come to the door, saying they are here to search the prefectural government." At these words, Li Rui's eyes suddenly widened, and he became fully alert. He immediately stood up from the bed. "What's going on? Why are there soldiers searching the prefectural government?" Lady Li said, "This servant does not know what happened, my lord, you should go and see. They're about to break in." Li Rui hastily walked towards the main gate of the prefectural government, not even taking the time to get dressed. At this moment, Li Rui's heart was filled with immense trepidation. He was wondering whether the North Prince was going to take action against him, the prefecture governor. But then he thought that he had already handed over the military power and had been diligently serving the North Prince. The North Prince wouldn't possibly take action against him, would he? He now considered himself a man of the North Prince, and what seigneur would act against their own people? If he, the prefecture governor, were removed, it would be even more difficult for the North Prince to suppress the various power groups in North City. Soon, Li Rui appeared at the entrance of the prefectural government. Seeing that the officer leading the soldiers was someone he knew well, Li Rui breathed a sigh of relief and asked, "Captain Wu, what is this about?" Wu Hong said with a smile, "Lord Li, please forgive the intrusion. Last night, the prince was attacked by an assassin from Blood Moon Tower. It is said that several assassins got away. The prince ordered a citywide search. No one's residence can be overlooked." Upon hearing this, Li Rui's expression changed, and he quickly asked, "The prince is all right, isn't he?" Wu Hong replied, "Lord Li, rest assured, thanks to the mysterious Grand Master from the prince's mansion, the prince was only frightened, he is unharmed." Relieved by this information, Li Rui breathed a sigh of relief. If the North Prince had been killed, he as the prefecture governor might well have been implicated. Then Li Rui said, "All right, go ahead with your search." Wu Hong bowed and said, "Thank you for your understanding." After that, Wu Hong led the soldiers into the prefectural government for a quick search before moving on to the next residence. Soon, the news of the attempt on the North Prince's life spread throughout the entire Yan County. Almost everyone in Yan County knew about the assassination attempt on the North Prince by individuals from Blood Moon Tower and how it was thwarted by the mysterious Grand Master of the North Prince Mansion. Although the North Prince was regarded as an ineffectual prince, he was still a prince, and an attempted assassination on a prince was certainly a major event. This news quickly spread to the capital city. Prince Liu Shiyun's residence. Upon seeing the pigeon letter from Wang Qingkai, Liu Shiyun flew into a rage. He lifted his arm and swept everything off the table to the floor, then overturned the table in front of him. Sounds of clattering ensued in the study as Liu Shiyun smashed everything smashable in the room. Trash! Trash! A bunch of trash! 6 ninth grade martial artists and 1 half-step grandmaster, yet they can't even kill a useless cripple. What use are you? Upon hearing Liu Shiyun's voice, all the maids in the room stood to one side, shivering and not daring to breathe too loudly. Liu Shiyun truly couldn't believe that this operation had actually failed. Even if the mysterious Grandmaster was still at the North Prince Mansion, with the half-step Grandmaster of Blood Moon Tower there, he should have been able to hold him off for a while, thus creating an opportunity for the other 9th grade warriors to kill Liu Chen. But Blood Moon Tower had actually failed. Not only did the people of Blood Moon Tower fail, but also practically everyone sent by the Misty Pavilion died, leaving only Wang Qingkai to escape, reportedly with severe injuries, hiding in Yan County, desperately clinging to life. Liu Shiyun felt like his lungs were about to explode with anger. He had always thought that getting rid of that useless Liu Chen would be an easy task, but now he had failed twice in a row. With these two failures, attempting to strike at the North Prince Mansion again in the future would likely not be as easy. Other powers are not fools, even a professional assassination organization like Blood Moon Tower had failed, so it's highly likely that other assassin organizations would refuse his mission. Just as Liu Shiyun was venting his dissatisfaction by smashing things, a servant hurriedly burst in. "Your Highness, something terrible has happened. It's a major disaster." Liu Shiyun was already furious, and hearing the servant panic, his anger increased. He kicked the servant, sending him flying against the wall. Fortunately, his strength wasn't very great, and he didn't kick the servant to death. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, the servant hurriedly got up and said, "Your Highness, the whole capital city is now abuzz with rumors saying that you sent Blood Moon Tower's assassins to kill the North Prince, with the aim of forcing the aristocratic families from the south to support only you in the succession dispute." Upon hearing this, Liu Shiyun froze for a moment, then stood stock still. He quickly collected himself and his face darkened in an instant. "Those good brothers of mine are truly seizing every possible opportunity. In politics, what you can do, you must not declare, and what you declare, you cannot do." Although fratricide among royal brothers is a fairly common occurrence, it is taboo for any dynasty. Of course, people knew that Prince Liu Shiyun was the one most eager to eliminate Prince Liu Chen. Their maternal clans both hailed from the aristocratic families of the south, which could only support one prince in the struggle for succession. But such matters should only be known without being publicly discussed, as it would be scandalous for royal brothers to engage in murder. If such things were taboo for the royal family, then why were there rumors in the capital city about him sending people to assassinate Prince Liu Chen? Clearly, another prince was behind this, aiming to disqualify him from the race for the crown prince's title. After hearing about the capital city's rumors, Liu Shiyun, who had just been thinking about how to get rid of Liu Chen, now found himself in a position where he could no longer take action against him. This is the politics of doing what must not be spoken of. Now that rumors have spread, if he were to send someone to kill Liu Chen and Liu Chen died, it would essentially confirm his culpability. Even if Liu Chen's death didn't come by his hand, the court officials supporting other princes would say it was his doing, and the common people would likewise believe he killed Prince Liu Chen. At that point, he would completely lose his eligibility to contest for the position of crown prince. Liu Shiyun clenched his fists, filled with unwillingness in his heart. Was he to simply let that worthless man go? The first and second assassination attempts were mainly for his own political purposes, but at this moment, Liu Shiyun was so enraged he stopped thinking politically. He only wanted to get rid of Liu Chen. Of course, this was just a momentary personal emotion, and Liu Shiyun soon calmed down. Regardless, he could not take any action against Liu Chen for the time being. At this moment, Liu Shiyun turned his head to look at the bookshelf in the study and directed toward it. "Immediately send a message to Wang Qingkai, tell her to heal from her injuries while continuing to lie low in North City, not to take any action for the time being." As Liu Shiyun's words fell, a shadow flipped out of the window and left the study. Chapter 39, Chapter 39, Chapter 39 The Perilous Situation of the Chu Family. Chapter 39, Chapter 39 The Perilous Situation of the Chu Family. Capital City. Imperial Palace, Royal Garden. The Sum Emperor, dressed in a yellow dragon robe, sat in the pavilion, delicately savoring the fragrant tea in his hands. At this moment, a soldier clad in armor suddenly appeared behind him. "Your Majesty, your servant has confirmed that it was Prince Liu Yi who spread the rumors that Prince Shiyun sent people to assassinate Prince Liu Chen." Hearing this, the teacup in the hands of the Sum Emperor shattered instantly, and he uttered a cold snort. "My children are really getting too restless. Could it be that they're all hoping for my early demise? Are they so eager for the crown prince's position?" Seeing the Sum Emperor's anger, the state preceptor, Situ Ce, seated opposite to him immediately said, "Your Majesty, please calm your anger. It's not surprising for brothers to turn against each other when the crown prince position remains undecided. If your Majesty could establish the heir sooner, it might quell some of the prince's thoughts." At these words, the Sum Emperor chuckled and then said, "Only you dare to talk to me like this, state preceptor. If anyone else suggested that one establish the crown prince earlier, I'd make sure they get 100 lashes. Saying so, the Sum Emperor rose from his stone bench and, with hands clasped behind his back, gazed at the lotus pond in the royal garden. To be truthful, I'm more curious about how Chen managed to survive than the affairs occurring within the capital city. The thoughts of the Sum Emperor were much like those of Liu Shiyun. Even if the Chu family really arranged for a mysterious Grand Master to protect Liu Chen, it was highly likely that the assassination attempt by Blood Moon Tower would succeed. According to intelligence gathered by the Shadow Guard, Blood Moon Tower had dispatched a half-step Grand Master and 5 9th-grade fighters to North City. Moreover, with the pieces Liu Shiyun had placed in North City, if they acted together, even the presence of a Grand Master might not spare the North Prince from death. Yet, the North Prince had survived. This caused the Sum Emperor to doubt whether the mysterious Grand Master beside the North Prince was truly just that simple. At this moment, Situ Ce spoke up. Perhaps Prince Liu Chen was able to survive because his fate decreed he should not die yet. Luck played its part. The Sum Emperor spoke indifferently. Enough, the farce should come to an end. Since the Chu family has not sent anyone to North City to contact Chen lately, let him do as he pleases there. I no longer plan to inquire about his affairs. The Sum Emperor had someone investigate the Chu family recently and found that aside from initially sending Chu Yukin and that mysterious Grand Master to protect Liu Chen when he first went to North City, they had made no further moves. They had not sent anyone to contact Liu Chen, and it seemed as if they had indeed given up on him. Even the Sum Emperor had heard that there was great dissatisfaction within the Chu family with Chu Xiong, the family head, and there was talk of replacing him. Chu Xiong, with troubles of his own, naturally lacked the interest to concern himself with Liu Chen, far away in North City. The Sum Emperor then commanded the red-robed eunuch beside him, "Issue my decree, for spreading rumors and tarnishing the royal family's dignity. Prince Liu Yi is to be confined for 3 months. As for Prince Shiyun." At this, the Sum Emperor paused for a moment. Then continued, "Mr. Liu, later go and tell Prince Shiyun to exercise restraint." Upon hearing this, the red-robed eunuch in front of the Sum Emperor instantly responded, "Yes, Your Majesty." Following this, Mr. Liu left the imperial palace and headed for the residences of Prince Liu Yi and Prince Shiyun to deliver the decree. Meanwhile, south, Sufeng City. Chu family. An old man with graying hair sat in the courtyard, poring over the letter in his hands repeatedly. Just then, a middle-aged man dressed in blue brocade entered the compound. "Father, didn't you say that we would temporarily ignore the affairs of North Prince Mansion? Why won't you let Yukin return? And to think that you have secretly arranged for a Grand Master to protect the North Prince. XXX. The man named Chu Hongfei is the son of Chu Xiong, and he is also Liu Chen's uncle." Chu Hongfei was in a bad mood after learning that the North Prince Mansion had a mysterious Grand Master, even though Liu Chen was his nephew, but he had very little to do with Liu Chen, let alone having any fondness for him. Moreover, the woman he loved had always been with the North Prince, which made Chu Hongfei even more unhappy. As for the woman he loved, that was naturally Chu Yukin. Facing his son's questioning, Chu Xiong fell silent for a moment, then countered, "Hongfei, do you really think that the Grand Master in the North Prince Mansion was sent by me?" Upon hearing Chu Xiong's words, Chu Hongfei was taken aback, then he said, "Besides you, who else would send a Grand Master to protect a worthless prince?" In Chu Hongfei's view, Chu Xiong was likely worried that Liu Chen, his grandson, would get hurt, so he sent a Grand Master there. At that moment, Chu Xiong sighed and said, "Indeed, I had considered sending a Grand Master to protect the North Prince, but thinking of the recent movements in the capital city, one eventually gave up on that idea. I have no idea where that mysterious Grand Master came from either." And Yukin went to North City with the North Prince of her own free will. Now she no longer listens to the Chu family. At this point, a look of doubt surfaced on Chu Hongfei's face. and he promptly asked, "Dad, you wouldn't be lying to me, would you? If it wasn't by your order, how could you can possibly follow a good-for-nothing who doesn't know anything? I don't believe it." Chu Xiong said with a disappointed tone, "Right now, the Sum Emperor's actions are unrelenting. The head of the imperial guards in the capital city has been replaced over and over, even Zhou Wangtian has been wiped out, Mu Chongtian has been imprisoned in the capital city, and it's clear that the Sum Emperor is about to strike at the aristocratic families. At a time like this, how dare I have too much contact with the North Prince? Do you really think I've gone senile and want the Sum Emperor's blade to fall on us even quicker? As for Yukin, one advise you, son, best give up sooner rather than later. Although her husband died on the first day she married into the Wang family, she is still considered the Wang family's daughter-in-law." Upon hearing Chu Xiong's words, Chu Hengfei thoughtfully said, "Dad, if it really wasn't a Grand Master you sent to North City, then it stands to reason that no Grand Master would protect the North Prince, right?" Chu Xiong stroked his graying beard and then said, "I was also very puzzled when I first saw this message. However, I just received news from the capital city, and it seems that this matter may have something to do with Prince Liu Yi." As he said this, Chu Xiong handed the letter he was holding to Chu Hengfei. Chu Hengfei picked up the letter and glanced at it, his expression changing again and again. Then he said, "Dad, do you think that Prince Liu Yi is the one who sent the Grand Master to protect the North Prince, trying to pull our Chu family over to his side in this way?" Chu Xiong said indifferently, "Not to win over the Chu family, but to win over me." The letter in Chu Hengfei's hand was sent by a spy from the Chu family in the capital city, who found out that Prince Liu Yi had spread news about the North Prince several times, including the news circulated in the capital city about the 8th Prince faction attempting to assassinate the North Prince, which was also spread by Prince Liu Yi. It seemed like Prince Liu Yi was protecting the North Prince. But Chu Xiong was no fool, it was clearly a performance for him to see. It was hard to say whether the Grand Master by the North Prince's side was Prince Liu Yi's underling. As Prince Liu Yi, the person most likely to become the Crown Prince, it was unquestionable that he had Grand Masters under him. But Grand Masters aren't cabbages, Prince Liu Yi himself needed Grand Master protection, and sending a Grand Master to protect the North Prince would leave who to protect him in the capital city? That is, unless he had more than one Grand Master at his side. At this time, Chu Hengfei placed the letter on the stone table and said, "I don't care, Yukin must come back no matter what. What's the point of her staying with a worthless prince in North City? The conditions in North City are so harsh, she'll only suffer there." Hearing this, Chu Xiong became furious and scolded, "All you think about is women, is that all you aspire to? With the Chu family on the brink of disaster, you're still concerned about women?" Chu Hengfei said carelessly, "What does the Chu family's disaster have to do with me? When the time comes, I'll simply take Yukin to the Great Wu dynasty." Hearing Chu Hengfei's words almost caused Chu Xiong to choke in anger. "Get out! Just get the hell out of here!" Chu Xiong yelled fiercely. Seeing Chu Xiong angry, Chu Hengfei quickly left the courtyard. After Chu Hengfei left, Chu Xiong looked at the empty courtyard and sighed deeply, saying, Your father has wronged you. I failed to protect you back then, and now I don't even dare to send someone to protect your child." Chapter 40, Chapter 40, Chapter 40 Auspicious Signs. These are Chapter 40, Chapter 40 Auspicious Signs. These are auspicious signs, _I. As the days passed by, the bellies of the three ladies of Musicxuan grew larger and soon the time for childbirth approached. Ever since the news spread that the North Prince had been assassinated by Blood Moon Tower and then saved by a mysterious Grand Master, North City had become much more stable. This made some forces realize that the mysterious Grand Master by the North Prince's side might stay with him permanently, protecting the North Prince. Although the North Prince was ineffectual, the mysterious Grand Master by his side was certainly not to be trifled with. Moreover, Due to the Sum Emperor's warning, Prince Liu Shiyun no longer continued to send assassins after Liu Chen but merely instructed Wang Qingkai to continue monitoring Liu Chen in North City, and to inform him immediately if there was any contact between the North Prince and the Chu family. Over these months, Liu Chen had not been preoccupied with the affairs of North City, it was still managed by the prefecture governor Li Rui. However, Liu Chen had had the land of the prince's mansion surveyed, then ordered the people to reclaim the wasteland and had all 10,000 caddies of seed potatoes planted. There was plenty of unused land in North City, and not many people paid attention to the surveying and reclamation of land by the North Prince mansion. These days, Liu Chen had been consistently present at the prince's mansion, accompanying Mu Zixuan and the other two ladies, who were due to give birth soon, thus he took extra care of them, fearing any potential mishaps. At that moment, Liu Chen gently stroked Mu Zixuan's protruding belly and said with a smile, "My consort, for now, entrust the businesses of the prince's mansion to Madame Chu. From here on, just focus on waiting for the delivery, and don't worry about those matters." In these few months, Mu Zixuan had expanded the soap and perfume industries 100-fold, and now across the entire Great Xia dynasty, whether it was nobles and dignitaries or common folk, all were using the perfumes and soaps produced by their prince's mansion. Although these two products were quite profitable, because they belonged to the North Prince's enterprises and with Mu Chongtian overseeing them in the capital city, for the time being, no one dared to covet these industries. What Liu Chen found most surprising was that Mu Zixuan seemed to be a person with a sharp business acumen, having combined perfumes and soaps to create the product known as scented soap. Of course, this combination was no simple matter, the scented soap had been improved to be used for bathing. With these industries in the prince's mansion, they could reap hundreds of thousands of silver every month, and Mu Zixuan was still actively expanding the trade routes, intending to sell these products to other countries. Unfortunately, as her belly swelled day by day, her energy waned more and more, and she felt sleepy every day. Now, she was completely unable to manage the businesses of the prince's mansion. Upon hearing Liu Chen's words, Mu Zixuan said, I have already transferred all the business ledgers of the prince's mansion to Madame Chu, and she has been familiarizing herself with those enterprises these past days. Although Chu Yukin could not be counted as a member of the North Prince mansion yet, everyone there trusted her, knowing that she would eventually be one of Liu Chen's women. Handing over the management of the prince's mansion's businesses to her, no one was worried about any potential issues arising. Just then, the maid Xiao entered the room and said softly, "Prince, General Li seeks an audience with you, mentioning it's an important matter." Hearing this, Liu Chen caressed Mu Zixuan's cheek and then said, "My consort, I need to step out for a while, you stay here and rest." With a smile, Mu Zixuan said, "All right, Prince, go attend to your affairs." Liu Chen then stood up and made his way towards the training ground. Seeing Li Feng, Liu Chen asked without waiting for a salute, "General Li, what brings you to me? What is the matter?" Li Feng promptly replied, "Prince, good news. Those plants that you had us, those." Pausing for a moment, Li Feng then quickly added, "Oh, right, potatoes. The potatoes are ready for harvest." Hearing this, Liu Chen's eyes lit up. Potatoes were considered the most suitable crop for addressing the food shortage in North City, and were a product that Liu Chen valued highly. Liu Chen immediately said, "Let's go have a look." With those words, he headed towards the main gate of the prince's mansion. Liu Chen was eager to know just how much harvest they could obtain from the potatoes planted in North City. He was no agricultural expert and could only follow the planting methods of the people in this world, so he was quite uncertain. Soon, Liu Chen arrived at the field where the North Prince mansion had planted the potatoes. By that time, many soldiers and local commoners were already waiting there. The local commoners were all interested in the new crops planted by the North Prince, even though the North Prince mansion had never revealed to them what they were planting. But the fact that soldiers were sent out every day to patrol the fields showed how important these crops must be to the North Prince mansion. Seeing so many commoners nearby, Li Feng asked, "Prince, should we drive all these commoners away?" After all, potatoes were a secret of the North Prince mansion. If too many people knew about it, there would likely be many who coveted the North Prince mansion's potatoes. Liu Chen shook his head and said, "If we drive them away, how will we promote the planting of potatoes in North City in the future?" He had planned to let the commoners of North City grow potatoes, and if they could not witness the yield per acre, they would certainly not take up potato cultivation. If the North Prince mansion forced the commoners to plant crops they had never seen before, it could potentially cause public outrage. At this moment, the surrounding commoners saw the North Prince himself coming and began to discuss. "Look! Isn't that the prince?" "Yes, it's him. I saw him when he first came to Yan County. What is being planted in these fields that even the North Prince himself has to come? They say it's food that can be eaten." "Really? This is the first time I've heard of food buried in the ground. Let's just wait and see. They're probably about to start digging, and then we'll know." Liu Chen ignored the commoners' discussions. He glanced at the crowd and then said to the soldiers holding hoes, "Start by digging up 1 acre and see how much the yield is." At Liu Chen's command, the soldiers started digging, and soon enough, several irregularly shaped, oval potatoes appeared before everyone's eyes. Seeing so many potatoes beneath a single plant, the surrounding commoners were astounded. "Can these really be eaten? My God, there are so many under just one plant. If they all can be eaten, then won't North City never suffer from famine again? But will the North Prince distribute the seeds of these plants to us commoners?" As time passed, the digging of the 1-acre plot was soon completed. Seeing the potatoes piled up like a small hill, both the soldiers of North City and the surrounding commoners were spellbound. In the end, after weighing, the yield of potatoes from 1 acre was nearly 2,000 kilograms. When Li Feng saw this number, he could hardly believe it. 2,000 kilograms of potatoes from just 1 acre. In this era, an acre of wheat did not even yield 200 kilograms. As unbelievable as it was, all of this was unfolding right before his eyes, leaving Li Feng with no choice but to believe. Li Feng then approached Liu Chen to report the measuring results, but Liu Chen directly said to Li Feng, "General Li, tell the commoners loudly how much yield we have per acre of potatoes." Instantly understanding Liu Chen's intention, Li Feng loudly announced, "Reporting to the prince, after our measurement, the yield of potatoes per acre is 2,000 kilograms." Hearing this, the surrounding commoners erupted in excitement. "Heavens! 2,000 kilograms! With so much food, we won't have to worry about going hungry again in the future. Auspicious omen, this is an auspicious omen indeed." Chapter 41, Chapter 41, Chapter 41 The first offspring is born. Chapter 41, Chapter 41 The first offspring is born. Seeing the excited populace, Liu Chen revealed a slight smile. He believed that after seeing the yield of potatoes, they already had the idea of planting them in their minds. After all, compared to potatoes, the yield of wheat was simply too low. At this moment, Liu Chen called out to the surrounding people, "Quiet down, everyone." As the North Prince spoke, the crowd instantly fell silent. Their eyes were fixed on Liu Chen as if they were hungry wolves eyeing their prey. They were eager to know if the North Prince would distribute the seeds of this plant to the people. Seeing the crowd quiet down, Liu Chen then spoke, "The grain you see here is called a potato. It can serve as a staple food. As for its yield, you've seen it yourselves. The prince has decided to distribute some potato seeds for the public to try planting, and those who do so will be exempt from agricultural taxes for 2 years." Hearing Liu Chen's words, the people stirred with excitement once more. They hadn't expected that the North Prince would truly consider giving them this miraculous crop to cultivate, and even exempt them from 2 years of agricultural tax. Then some of the people couldn't help but kneel down, constantly bowing their heads to Liu Chen in gratitude. Seeing the fervor of the populace, Liu Chen knew that promoting potatoes would probably not be a big problem. After a few years, if North City wasn't stricken by any natural disasters or calamities, it was highly likely that there would be no severe food crisis like there was currently. Just at that moment, when Liu Chen was about to say something, a system notification suddenly sounded. Congratulations to the host for the birth of your first child, rewarded with 5,000 brocade guards, 2 master-level commanders, and a bonus reward of weapons forging technology. The more offspring the host has, the more valuable the rewards will be, including but not limited to various modern technologies, factories, and even industrial production lines. Hearing this unexpected system voice, Liu Chen was stunned. He hadn't thought that shortly after leaving the prince's mansion, he would already have a child. But without a doubt, Mu Zixuan must have given birth. At that moment, as he was preparing to hurry back to the prince's mansion, a trusted aide from the mansion rode towards him excitedly, shouting, "Prince, Prince, the princess consort is about to give birth, Madame Chu requests you to return quickly." Hearing this, Liu Chen didn't hesitate to say to Li Feng, "General Li, I'll leave the rest to you, I need to go see the princess consort." Li Feng naturally understood the importance of the prince consort giving birth to an heir. With an heir, it meant that the North Prince Mansion's lineage would continue. He immediately replied, "Prince, please rest assured on your return, one will instruct the soldiers to excavate the potatoes as quickly as possible." Liu Chen said no more and immediately boarded his carriage. Meanwhile, in a tavern in Yan County, North City, the tavern owner stood at the counter, clicking away at an abacus. Suddenly, his brain paused as a surge of information flooded his mind. The tavern owner immediately looked shocked, turning his head in the direction of the North Prince Mansion in disbelief. Muttering to himself, the tavern owner said, "Could it be him? No wonder, no wonder. It looks like I'm going to be busy in the future." With that, the tavern owner set down the abacus and began to change clothes. At almost the same time, in the capital city, the owner of a liquor establishment that Prince Liu Shiyun frequently visited, and also the manager. Just as he was about to personally welcome today's distinguished guests, he froze in place, his expression one of disbelief. He murmured to himself, "If it's that prince's doing, I fear my task is imminent. It seems I must prepare in advance." On the way back to the prince's mansion, Liu Chen opened the system to take a look at the rewards he had just received. "System, where are these 5,000 brocade guards now? And what's their strength like?" Liu Chen hadn't expected that one of the rewards for having an heir would be a group of people. He thought the system would have awarded him a batch of modern military hardware. The system's prompt sounded at that moment. The 5,000 members of the Brocade Guard are now distributed across the various counties of the Great Xia dynasty, with the lowest rank among them being 5th grade, while the heads of the 4 major institutions and the 5 commanders of the Brocade Guard are all 9th grade. In addition, the subordinates obtained by the host through the system have a loyalty of 100% and possess identities implanted from this world. Upon hearing the system's prompt, Liu Chen curiously asked, "How do those people know that they are part of the Brocade Guard?" "It is the power of the system. The host can think of it as the system having implanted a portion of special memories in them, keeping the whole Brocade Guard operational until their true master appears." At the sound of the system's prompt, Liu Chen couldn't help but marvel at the system's power. "All members of the Brocade Guard have received your personal information. Currently, there are 300 Brocade Guards in North City, including a commander, head of punishment department, head of investigation department, and both outer and inner commanders stationed in Yan County. They will arrive at the prince's mansion as soon as possible to report intelligence to you. Does the host need to recall Brocade Guards from outside North City?" Seeing the system's prompt, Liu Chen asked, "Can one communicate with them across the distance?" "No, but the host has the authority to summon them once." Liu Chen understood the system's meaning. if he wanted to recall all the brocade guards, then they would be able to receive a message from the system. This was a capability of the system. But why would he want to recall all the brocade guards? The function of the brocade guard is to monitor officials and gather intelligence. If he recalled them, what use would the brocade guard still have? With this in mind, Liu Chen said, "No need, let them stay where they are." The brocade guards outside North City have received the host's order to stand by at their current locations. After returning to the prince's mansion, Liu Chen hurried to Mu Zixuan's birthing room. At that moment, Mu Zixuan looked pale, covered in sweat, and extremely weak. Seeing Liu Chen return, Mu Zixuan strained to rise from the bed, and Liu Chen quickly went to support her, saying, "My love, you should lie down and rest." Just then, the midwife came to Liu Chen with a child in her arms. "Congratulations, Prince, the princess consort has given birth to a princely heir for you." Hearing this, Liu Chen immediately glanced at the child in the midwife's hands and nervously took him into his own arms. The newborn was very small and rather ugly, but Liu Chen had no thoughts of disdain, for it was his own child. At that moment, Chu Yukin reminded him, "Chener, you haven't named the child yet. Give him a name now." Liu Chen thought for a while and then said, "Let's call him Liu Chongfeng." Chongfeng can be interpreted as a continual wind, symbolizing strength, vitality, and hope. Liu Chen wished for his first child to grow proactively and one day accomplish great things. After accompanying Mu Zixuan in the birthing room for a while, Liu Chen left to prepare for the arrival of the commander of the brocade guard. As soon as he stepped out of the birthing room, Chu Yukin asked, "Chener, where have you just been?" Mu Zixuan was about to give birth, yet Liu Chen was not at the prince's mansion, which meant he must have been attending to something very important. Liu Chen replied, "The potatoes are ripe, one just went to check on General Li and the others harvesting potatoes." At that, Chu Yukin's eyes lit up before she asked, "The same potatoes you gave us to eat before?" Chu Yukin and the other women of the inner court of the prince's mansion had all seen potatoes and tasted them. Chu Yukin realized the importance of potatoes to North City after Liu Chen introduced them. Liu Chen nodded at this time. Chu Yukin continued to ask, "How is the yield of those potatoes?" Liu Chen replied, 2,000 kilograms per acre. Upon hearing this answer, Chu Yukin stood frozen in place. Although Liu Chen had mentioned before that the yield of potatoes would be substantial, she hadn't expected it to be this high. If potatoes could be widely adopted, the people of North City might never have to go hungry again, and the prestige of the North Prince would quickly rise. Seeing Chu Yukin astonished at the yield of the potatoes, Liu Chen said mysteriously, "Madam Chu, are you surprised? Wait, there's something even more surprising coming for you." Before Liu Chen could finish, a trusted aide from the prince's mansion rushed over and said, "Prince, Madam Chu, something terrible has happened. A group of martial artists wearing strange clothes has arrived outside the prince's mansion." Chapter 42, Chapter 42, Chapter 42 The Crisis at Duke Mu Residence I. Chapter 42, Chapter 42 The Crisis at Duke Mu Residence I. Hearing the report of the trusted aide, Chu Yukin's brows furrowed. A martial artist dressed in strange attire? Who would dare to cause trouble at the North Prince mansion? Ever since the assassination attempt on Liu Chen by Blood Moon Tower failed last time, no one in North City had dared to provoke the North Prince mansion. People knew that the North Prince mansion had a Grand Master, so they wouldn't be so foolish. And yet, someone had come knocking today? Chu Yukin immediately said to Liu Chen, "Chener, I'll go take a look first." Liu Chen said, "Madam Chu, I'll go with you." Chu Yukin was about to say something, but thinking of the mysterious weapon on Liu Chen's person, coupled with the fact that Liu Chen was now a martial artist himself, she refrained from dissuading him. After that, they arrived at the entrance of the prince's mansion. As soon as they arrived at the entrance, they saw the martial artists in strange attire, described by the trusted aide, standing in rows, extremely respectful at the entrance of the prince's mansion, with no intention of causing trouble. Liu Chen evaluated the martial artists wearing flying fish suits and cloaks, the brocade guards, but didn't immediately approach. Chu Yukan, on seeing this scene, was immediately stunned. She had thought they were there to cause trouble, but by their appearance, they clearly weren't. Moreover, their attire was uniform, as if they were martial artists from some government agency. However, she had never heard of any agency under the Great Xia dynasty that wore such attire. After sensing the realm of these individuals, Chu Yukan's brow furrowed, and she became instantly alert. The man at the forefront, judging by his aura, was undoubtedly not any less powerful than her. And the 5 people behind him were also 9th grade. As for the remaining warriors on the 2 carts, nearly all were 5th grade or above. Last time when Blood Moon Tower sent people to assassinate Liu Chen, they didn't bring so many 5th grade martial artists. What was the origin of these people? And what did they want to do at the prince's mansion? What made Chu Yukan most uneasy was the man at the front, who posed a tremendous threat to her. She even suspected that he might be a Grand Master. Just as Chu Yukan was about to inquire their identities, she saw the leading man step forward and then kneel on one knee in front of Liu Chen, saying, "Commander of the Brocade Guard, Qin Yushan, pays his respects to the prince. I have failed to report to the prince at the earliest opportunity, please, prince, punish me." After Qin Yushan knelt down, the brocade guards behind him also uniformly knelt down in unison. Seeing this scene, Chu Yukan's face showed shock. She couldn't understand when Liu Chen had acquired so many strong subordinates. Keep in mind, Li Feng, who had come to North City with Liu Chen initially, was only 8th grade now. And yet, Liu Chen had in his company 5 9th grade martial artists, over 100 5th grade ones, and even a master whose strength seemed to surpass that of a half-step Grand Master. Afterward, Liu Chen glanced at Qin Yushan and checked his personal information. Name, Qin Yushan. Identity, Commander of the Brocade Guard, shopkeeper of the Joyful Arrival Tavern in North City. Upon learning you are his master, he immediately summoned the Jinyue Guard of Yan County to report to you. Strength, Grand Master. Loyalty, 100. After reviewing Qin Yushan's personal profile, Liu Chen glanced over the other members of the Brocade Guard and found that their loyalty, indeed, was as the system had said, all 100. The system really was powerful, able to cultivate so many wholly loyal subordinates for him in advance. Liu Chen then said, "Commander Qin, rise. Don't stand at the entrance of the prince's mansion, come inside first." With that, Liu Chen turned and walked towards the prince's mansion. Occasionally, civilians would pass by the entrance. Seeing so many martial artists at the entrance of the prince's mansion, they would probably spread rumors everywhere. It was better to discuss matters after entering the prince's mansion. Following that, Qin Yushan led several hundred subordinates into the prince's mansion. When they arrived at the training ground, Chu Yukan curiously asked Liu Chen, "Chener, when did you cultivate so many experts, and why didn't Madame Chu know anything about it?" If it were just one expert, her ignorance would be normal, but seeing these brocade guards wearing the same type of clothing, Chu Yukan instantly understood that this was an organization. Liu Chen had already created an organization belonging to the prince's mansion, and she had not heard a whisper of it, which puzzled Chu Yukan. Liu Chen said with a smile, "Madam Chu, there are still many things you don't know about me." Hearing that, Chu Yukan rolled her eyes at Liu Chen. But thinking of Liu Chen as someone with a celestial fate, Chu Yukan also felt reassured in her heart. At this moment, Liu Chen stopped in his tracks, turned around, and said to Qin Yushan, "Commander Qin, give an overview of the current situation of the Brocade Guard." "Yes, Prince. The Brocade Guard currently has 5,000 members, distributed across the various counties of the Great Xia dynasty, all above the 5th grade in strength. There are 11 martial artists above the 9th grade, among them 2 are Grand Masters, that is, myself and Commander Liang Zone. Hearing Qin Yushan's report, Chu Yukin was completely stunned. 5,000 martial artists above the 5th grade? All of them brocade guards? And there are 9 9th grade martial artists and 2 grandmasters. Chenner had secretly created such a huge power. With such a force, why had he needed to pretend to be an ignorant wastrel back when he was in the capital city? The princes of the capital city, even with various powers backing them, did not directly control such a superpower as Liu Chen did. With such a vast force backing him, why would Liu Chen need to fear those princes? Furthermore, with the support of the Chu family and the aristocratic families of the south, his position as the crown prince was virtually secured. Chu Yukin was utterly confused for a moment. She couldn't fathom the point of Liu Chen's past pretense as an incompetent fool. Of course, she didn't know that Liu Chen had only just acquired the brocade guard, so her lack of understanding was natural. Liu Chen had Qin Yushan introduce the brocade guard purely for Chu Yukin to hear. Now that the introduction was finished, it was time to discuss serious matters. Commander Qin, show me the intelligence that the brocade guard has gathered recently, Liu Chen said. As soon as Liu Chen finished speaking, the Jinyue guards behind Qin Yushan carried several large boxes over to Liu Chen. Prince, this is the intelligence gathered by the brocade guard on the Great Xia dynasty this year. Please review it, Prince, said Qin Yushan. Seeing so many boxes of intelligence, Liu Chen paused. He definitely wouldn't be able to finish them today. Then he said to Qin Yushan, move these intelligence documents to my study later. Commander Qin, tell me, has anything happened in the capital city recently? Upon hearing Liu Chen inquire about the capital city, Qin Yushan immediately replied, Prince, I received a pigeon letter from my colleagues in the capital city yesterday. A major incident happened recently in the capital city. On hearing this, both Liu Chen and Chu Yukin's expressions became a bit more severe. Qin Yushan continued to report, the remnants of Chen nation attempted to assassinate His Majesty in the capital city and failed, escaping from the capital city. Despite His Majesty's exhaustive search across the entire capital city, the whereabouts of those assassins were not found. Ultimately, His Majesty's Shadow Guard found out that the Duke Mu residence had helped those assassins escape the capital city. Now the entire Duke Mu residence has been thrown into the dungeon, awaiting trial, Qin Yushan finished. After hearing Qin Yushan's report, Liu Chen's mind went blank for a moment. He hadn't expected his father-in-law to get into trouble so soon. Chapter 43, Chapter 43, Chapter 43 Intelligence from the Capital City. Chapter 43, Chapter 43 Intelligence from the Capital City. During the Zhou family's rebellion, Duke Mu residence was implicated once, and only by producing the writ of protection against execution was Mu Chongtian able to barely preserve the entire Duke Mu residence. Just a little over a year had passed, and the Duke Mu residence encountered such an incident again. Liu Chen started to doubt whether his father-in-law was really this foolish. Even if he truly had a rebellious streak, it wouldn't make sense for him to align with the remnant forces of Chen nation again in such a short span of time. He wasn't an idiot, the current Sum Emperor was in his prime, and his skill had also broken through to the Master Realm, so living past 100 years old shouldn't be an issue. Thinking that assassinating the Sum Emperor and then overturning the Great Xia dynasty would be easy was anything but the case. At this moment, Chu Yukin quickly said to Liu Chen, Chenner, Zixuan has just given birth to a child, she must not know about this under any circumstances. Although the term postpartum depression wasn't used in this era, people of the time were aware that women could be emotionally sensitive after giving birth. If Mu Zixuan found out that the whole Mu family had been locked up in prison, it could adversely affect her physical recovery. Liu Chen said, I understand. At this point, Liu Chen looked at Qin Yushan and asked, Commander Qin, has my imperial father incurred any injuries? Qin Yushan replied, Your Highness, the Emperor has not been harmed. It is said that during the assassination attempt by the remnants of Chen nation, the state preceptor was right in front of His Majesty. Hearing this, Liu Chen let out a scornful laugh. He then said, "Are these remnants of Chen nation really that foolish? To dare attempt an assassination on a master in front of a Grand Master?" Although Situ Ce never declared himself a Grand Master, the fact that he was one was no longer a secret. After all, as the national pillar of the great Xia dynasty, how could he be called that without the strength of a Grand Master? When the remnants of Chen nation tried to assassinate the Sum Emperor, did they not do any homework at all? Liu Chen continued to inquire, "How many assassins did the remnants of Chen nation dispatch to assassinate my imperial father? And what is the level of skill of these assassins?" Qin Yushan replied, "Based on the intelligence gathered by colleagues in the capital city, the remnants of Chen nation dispatched a total of 30 assassins to infiltrate the imperial palace. Among these assassins, the majority have skill around the 6th rank, with the strongest being half-step grandmasters. There are 2 of them." Upon hearing Qin Yushan's report, Liu Chen was at a loss for words on how to comment. Sending 30 assassins, among them 2 half-step grandmasters, to the heavily guarded imperial palace to kill a master. And these assassins didn't even bother to find out if there were any formidable individuals around the emperor beforehand. Their brains truly had issues. Liu Chen even began to question whether these remnants were really from Chen nation. Liu Chen immediately asked, "Has the Brocade Guard investigated these remnants of Chen nation? Are they truly from Chen nation?" Qin Yushan responded, "Your Highness, Commander Liang has sent people to investigate, confirming that remnants of Chen nation indeed entered the imperial palace. However, according to Commander Liang's investigation, the escape of the remnants of Chen nation from the capital city is probably not related to Duke Mu residence." Qin Yushan, knowing what Liu Chen wanted to confirm, directly shared Commander Liang's investigation. After hearing Qin Yushan's words, Liu Chen fell silent. First, the Sum Emperor used the Zhou family's rebellion as a pretext to take the writ of protection against execution from Duke Mu residence, then stripped Mu Chongtian of his military command, and eventually disbanded the Hu Ben army, redistributing its soldiers to other camps. Now, by using the remnants of Chen nation, he has thrown the entire Duke Mu residence into prison. It seems his imperial father is intent on killing the donkey once it's outlived its usefulness. Even as a political novice, Liu Chen had a basic understanding of what the Sum Emperor intended to do. Mu Chongtian and Zhou Wangtian, who rebelled more than a year ago, were once known as the 2 Sky Kings of the Great Xia dynasty. Now that Zhou Wangtian has been eliminated, Mu Chongtian is also almost due to be ousted. With the fall of these 2 Sky Kings, the Sum Emperor's control over the Great Xia dynasty has reached an unprecedented height in its history. He has taken all military power into his own hands. What is he planning to do? Seeing that Liu Chen hadn't spoken for a long time, Chu Yukan sighed beside him, "Chener, I'm afraid your father the emperor is planning to take action against the aristocratic families." Hearing this, Liu Chen realized. His father the emperor had tried every means to reclaim military power and must have had something in mind, otherwise, why would he go to the trouble of reclaiming military power at the risk of destabilizing the foundation of the nation? If it was to act against the aristocratic families, indeed, it would require having soldiers at hand. He hadn't expected his father the emperor to have such boldness. Throughout history, few emperors have dared to casually act against the aristocratic families. There's a saying, the aristocratic families last 1,000 years, the dynasties only 100. Even if a dynasty was overthrown, those families would still remain, their dominance of court affairs now taken for granted. That his father the emperor had such ambition made Liu Chen also couldn't help but admire him. But on the flip side, his current situation was somewhat awkward. First off, his mother's family comes from the Chu family, the largest of the aristocratic families in the south, and secondly, his wife is the daughter of Mu Chongtian. Liu Chen then looked at Qin Yushan and asked, "Has the court said how they plan to deal with my wife?" Qin Yushan answered, "There have been several debates in the court about this issue. Prince Liu Shiyun's faction believes that the princess should be brought back to the capital city for disposition, while Prince Liu Yi believes that the princess, being the wife of a prince, should not be seen as belonging to the Duke Mu residence anymore. Liu Chen said with a smile, unexpectedly, there are still people in the capital who speak up for this useless prince. Just then, a soldier from the prince's mansion entered the training ground. Your Highness, there is a martial artist outside claiming to be from the brocade guard seeking an audience. As he said this, the soldier from the prince's mansion glanced at the Jinyue guards on the training ground. And then continued, he is dressed just like them. Liu Chen said directly, let him in. Yes, Your Highness. Shortly after, the soldier led the newly arrived Jinyue guard into the training ground. The Jinyue guard saw Liu Chen and immediately knelt down halfway, saying, Greetings, Your Highness. Liu Chen said, Rise. Liu Chen had thought that this Jinyue guard had arrived at the prince's mansion simply because of the long distance, but as soon as the Jinyue guard stood up, he immediately took out a bamboo tube from his waist and handed it to Liu Chen. Your Highness, I have a letter from the capital. The Duke Mu residence is accused of colluding with the remnants of Chen nation and has been exiled by His Majesty to the northwest. Liu Chen was somewhat surprised, he had just taken charge of the brocade guard, and its intelligence network was already operating. Liu Chen took the bamboo tube from the Jinyue guard, removed a piece of intelligence from inside, and read it carefully. From the content on the intelligence, Liu Chen immediately understood that it was a routine exchange of information between members of the brocade guard, and it was not because the Jinyue in the capital knew in advance that he, the North Prince, was their master. Seeing Liu Chen's expression turn somber, Chu Yukin asked, Chener, what's wrong? Liu Chen replied, Commander Liang says in this report that, on his way to exile in the northwest, Duke Mu will be subject to assassination attempts by numerous forces. Now that Duke Mu has been stripped of his skill and is just an ordinary person, it's very likely that the entire Duke Mu family will not make it to the northwest. Chapter 44, Chapter 44, Chapter 44 Prince? Which prince, _I? Chapter 44, Chapter 44 Prince? Which prince, _I? Ancient officials on their way to exile were generally at the greatest risk. The exiled officials had lost their power, and those who they had offended in the past no longer feared them. It was very likely that their enemies would seize this opportunity to take revenge by hiring assassins to kill the exiled. Moreover, political adversaries still in court did not wish for these exiled individuals to ever return to the court, and would find ways to eliminate them. Not to mention, Mu Chongtian was once a highly renowned general in the Huben army. In his efforts to assist the Sum Emperor in seizing the imperial throne, Mu Chongtian had made quite a few enemies. These people all wanted Mu Chongtian dead. Now, like a tiger without teeth, Mu Chongtian's enemies would not miss this chance. The issue Liu Chen now contemplated was whether to save his esteemed father-in-law or not. With his current strength, if he wished to save Mu Chongtian, it wasn't completely out of the question, especially since he already had the brocade guard at his disposal. Furthermore, Mu Chongtian was the father of his wife, and it wouldn't be right to turn a blind eye to his plight. After a long moment, Liu Chen finally spoke, if the exile is to the northwest, then it shouldn't be too far from North City, right? Qin Yushan replied, indeed, my prince. Liu Chen glanced once more at the report in his hand and then said, this report came 4 days ago, one fear the Duke Mu residence's family is already on the way to exile. If this prince wants to save them, I'm not sure whether there's still time. Hearing these words from Liu Chen, Qin Yushan immediately said, please rest assured, my prince one believe that once Commander Liang Zong becomes aware that you are our lord, he will know what to do. If Liang Zong didn't know that his master was the North Prince, he definitely wouldn't act to save the Duke Mu residence. But since he was already aware that their master of the brocade guard was the North Prince, and Duke Mu was the father-in-law of the North Prince, he would surely act immediately to rescue Duke Mu residents and then await the North Prince's next command. After some thought, Liu Chen could only hope that the yet-to-be-met commander of the Brocade Guard would have some sense. Liu Chen then said to Qin Yushan, "Send a message to Commander Liang, instructing him to save Duke Mu residents' family. Have him disguise them as if they've all perished and then find a way to bring them safely to North City." Qin Yushan saluted and said, "As you command, my prince." Liu Chen looked at the heads of the 4 divisions of the Brocade Guard and continued, "The Brocade Guard must continue to operate covertly for now. Whatever you were doing before, keep doing it." Although the Brocade Guard, in comparison to the Great Xia dynasty's Shadow Guard, wasn't much to speak of. As a prince, a lord on the frontier with such a vast and complete intelligence network, this would certainly arouse suspicion from others. Why would a prince send people to infiltrate various counties of the Great Xia dynasty, monitor officials, and gather intelligence? What are his intentions? This is overtly preparing for rebellion. Liu Chen wasn't so foolish. It was best for the Brocade Guard to continue lurking in the shadows. Meanwhile, capital city, Havin prison. A middle-aged man clad in prisoner's garb, tall and imposing, was bound tightly to the rack. The man had disheveled hair, and his face looked utterly exhausted. Upon learning of his impending exile, Mu Chongtian couldn't help but laugh uproariously. "Ha ha ha, how ridiculous, truly ridiculous. Liu Xingqiu, oh Liu Xingqiu, back then, to save you, I risked my life and led 100 men deep into enemy territory, fighting with all we had to get you out. And when you were contending for the throne, one gave my all to support you, yet today, I've been reduced to such a state. The emperor's heart is always cold and merciless. Today, I have truly seen it." Mu Changtian's neighboring cell held the members of Duke Mu's family. As Mu Changtian's words ended, a young man dressed in prisoner's clothes asked, "Father, will we survive the journey to the northwest?" The young man who spoke was Mu Changtian's second son Mu Xingping, also Mu Zixuan's elder brother. XXX. He had grown up in the Duke Mu residence, acutely aware of politics, so he was very clear that their whole family's exile to the northwest was nothing more than a pretense. The Sum Emperor would certainly not allow them to arrive in the northwest safely. Even if the Sum Emperor didn't kill them, the former enemies of the Duke Mu residence would not let them live in peace. Now that all the males in their family had been stripped of their skill, they were all ordinary people. If they encountered an assassination by a martial artist on the road, they would have no means of resistance. After hearing his second son's words, Mu Chongtian fell silent. Because he also knew that the Sum Emperor would not allow him to live and reach the northwest, nor would his enemies let him continue to live. He and his family would die on the road of exile. The Sum Emperor had not killed them directly but chose to exile their whole family, only because he feared others would accuse him of killing a meritorious official, afraid of being pointed at the spine. At that moment, Mu Changtian's eldest son, Mu Jingguo, said, "Father, little sister shouldn't be implicated, right?" Their demise was certain, beyond doubt. Mu Jingguo was now only worried that his sister, who had married the North Prince, would also be implicated. Hearing this, Mu Chongtian sighed deeply, still saying nothing. The North Prince was nothing but an ignorant waste, and moreover, he was weak and incompetent. He had heard that after the North Prince went to North City, he had kept many women in the prince's mansion, indulging in pleasure every day, with his entire mansion managed by his daughter. Given the North Prince's character, even if the court did not dispose of his daughter, the North Prince might fear the court's punishment and drive his daughter out of the prince's mansion, or even divorce her directly. Once the people from the Duke Mu residence were all dead, Mu Zixuan would be completely helpless, and the North Prince wouldn't have to worry about anyone troubling him. Just thinking of his daughter's future plight made Mu Changtian's heart seethe with hatred. He had truly been blind to have supported the ingrate Liu Xingqiu to the throne. At that moment, a jailer unlocked the cell that held Mu Chongtian alone. A man walked in and said to the jailer beside him, you go out first, I have a few words to pass on to Duke Mu. Okay, head jailer, replied the jailer. After the jailer left the cell, only the man remained in Mu Changtian's presence. The Mu family members in the adjacent cells. Seeing someone enter Mu Changtian's cell, all turned their attention in that direction. Mu Changtian gave the man in front of him a once-over, snorted with a laugh, and said, "Did Lu Xingkai send you?" Facing his impending death, Mu Changtian no longer showed the Sum Emperor the same respect, addressing him directly by name. At these words, the man simply smiled. He then approached Mu Changtian and unlocked all of the iron chains that bound him. Seeing this scene, the Mu family members were all puzzled, not understanding why the head jailer would do such a thing. The head jailer then spoke, "Duke Mu, let me introduce myself. My name is Zhao Hong, and I am a man of the prince." Upon hearing this, Mu Changtian was filled with confusion. The prince? Which prince? Which prince would dare to send someone to contact him now? He was already about to be exiled, and he didn't believe that the other princes did not understand what his exile implied. If a prince contacted him at this time, it would surely incur the Sum Emperor's displeasure. Then, not just confinement but even their princely positions could be at risk of being lost. After being unchained, Mu Changtian moved his body to ease the stiffness. While he was about to inquire which prince Zhao Hong served, Zhao Hong took out 3 bottles and said, "These are 3 great returning pills. Upon taking them, you will recover 90% of your skill." Hearing this, Mu Changtian was completely stunned. Chapter 45, Chapter 45, Chapter 45 Chen Wan Rong, I will plant a love worm in her eye. Chapter 45, Chapter 45 Chen Wan Rong, I will plant a love worm in her eye. As a former Grandmaster martial artist, Mu Changtian could not possibly be unaware of what the Great Returning Pill was. However, he had only heard about it before and had never seen it. The rumors claimed that the Great Returning Pill could bring someone back from the dead and fully restore one's skill. Although the rumors may be exaggerated, there was no doubt it could restore one's skill, and the Imperial Palace indeed had such pills. Mu Changtian looked at the 3 small porcelain bottles in Zhao Hong's hand with disbelief. After a moment of silence, he sneered and said, "It seems some people can't wait anymore. We haven't even left the capital city yet they plan to make their move on me. At such a time, how could anyone come to rescue them, and even bring them a miraculous elixir like the Great Returning Pill?" Apparently, someone was planning to act against them in advance, to poison him to death with a toxicant. What nonsense about the Great Returning Pill! Clearly, it was poison. Mu Changtian then said, "Speak, who sent you? If it's Lu Xingkai, I'd rather die on the road than take the poison he gives." Seeing that Mu Changtian seemed to have misunderstood his intent, Zhao Hong said with a smile, "Duke Mu, you have misunderstood. Those who want you dead wouldn't let you die in heaven prison. The Great Returning Pills in my possession are indeed real, and as for which prince gave them to you, you will soon find out. If you want to see your daughter again, it's best to take the Great Returning Pill immediately and regain all your strength before you're exiled." If Zhao Hong now said that the Great Returning Pill was from the North Prince, Mu Changtian would probably be even more distrustful, given that the North Prince's image as a good-for-nothing had deeply imprinted in people's hearts. Hearing Zhao Hong mention his daughter, Mu Changtian was startled for a moment. At this time, Mu Jingguo from the neighboring cell said, "Father, give it to me, I'll take it first. Even if it's poison, one accept my fate, we won't live many days anyway." Mu Changtian looked again at the small porcelain bottles in Zhao Hong's hand, pondered for a moment, and finally snatched the bottles from Zhao Hong. He opened one and threw the pill inside into his mouth. Just when Mu Changtian was ready to meet death, he found his inner strength starting to recover, and he felt an incredible sense of comfort flooding his body. Soon, he felt his skill returning. Although it had not fully recovered, he now possessed the strength of a 9th-grade martial artist. Mu Chongtian looked at the remaining 2 small porcelain bottles in his hand with disbelief. Could these actually be the real great returning pills? How could that be? Only the Imperial Palace had great returning pills. Such skill-restoring pills were coveted by grandmasters, let alone by great grandmasters. One pill was already immensely precious, yet now this prison head actually gave him 3. If people knew that there were 3 great returning pills in the hands of a commoner, the capital city would have probably already been in chaos. Such precious pills, could they really have come from a prince? Wait a minute. Mu Chongtian seemed to realize something. The prison head had only mentioned that these pills came from a certain prince, but he did not say that this prince was a child of the Sum Emperor. The Great Xia dynasty had numerous princes. And it wasn't only the current princes who could be named so, a seigneur might also be possible. Could it be that a seigneur was planning a rebellion and thus sought to enlist his support? With this thought, Mu Chongtian immediately confirmed his suspicion. It must be so, otherwise, why would the other party be willing to part with 3 great returning pills to help him and his 2 sons regain their skill? But then again, even if that prince intended to rebel, he no longer cared. Liu Xingkai was just an ungrateful wretch, what did it matter if he rebelled against him? With this in mind, Mu Chongtian immediately said to Zhao Hong, "Thank you, go back and tell your prince that whatever he wants me to do, 1, Mu Chongtian, will oblige." Having said that, Mu Chongtian tossed the 2 remaining small porcelain bottles to his sons Mu Jingguo and Mu Xingping in the next cell. After Mu Jingguo and Mu Xingping received the small porcelain bottles, they didn't say another word and immediately swallowed the pills. When the 2 of them felt their skill returning within their bodies, they also revealed a look of disbelief. This isn't poison, but the actual great returning pill? Does this mean our father has also recovered his skill? If that's the case, we'd be able to put up some resistance on the way, and not be slaughtered unilaterally by others. As for whether we can make it to the northwest alive, that's up to fate. Zhao Hong said, "All right, Duke Mu, I will relay your message to the prince. I won't disturb you any longer." After that, Zhao Hong turned around and left the cell. Once the cell door was closed again, Mu Xingping immediately asked, "Father, which prince dares to send us the pilei at this time, and it's even the legendary great returning pill?" Mu Chongtian was silent for a moment before saying, "It seems that a seigneur is getting restless and wants to take advantage of Liu Xingkai dealing with the aristocratic families to unite with them and overthrow Liu Xingkai. The aristocratic families already knew that Liu Xingkai might take action against them, so they wouldn't just sit and wait for death. The most likely scenario is that they would support a seigneur, then overthrow Liu Xingkai's rule and replace him with someone else as the emperor. Just as the aristocratic families helped Liu Xingkai ascend to the throne back then." Hearing Mu Chongtian's words, Mu Jingguo asked from the side, "Father, what should we do then?" Mu Chongtian scoffed and said, "What to do? One was the one who helped Liu Xingkai to the throne back then. Since he has turned his back on me, he can't blame me for pulling him down." Mu Chongtian had already decided that if someone truly wanted to rebel against Liu Xingkai, he would definitely support that person. Obviously, these 3 great returning pills were the other party's gesture of sincerity, otherwise, they wouldn't have sent such precious pills to them. It's just that one don't know which prince it is. There aren't many seigneurs in the Great Xia who have the power to rebel. Although the Great Xia gave some princes a lot of power, Liu Xingkai liked to meddle in those territories that had potential for growth. If they couldn't be controlled, then he would have the Shadow Guard take action in advance to eliminate any potential disasters. This wasn't something that Liu Xingkai had never done. Mu Chongtian knew of a prince who was killed by Liu Xingkai's Shadow Guard. After his death, the court even pushed all the blame onto the head official of the seigneur's territory, accusing him of imprisoning the seigneur with the intent to rebel. After pondering for a moment, Mu Chongtian still couldn't figure out which seigneur would reach out to him. He had no choice but to let it go. After all, once he got out, he would know who had approached him. In the meantime, mysterious moon palace. Within the chamber of light veils, transcendent in a veil of smoke, a woman dressed in plain white clothes was sitting in front of a zither, earnestly playing the instrument. The woman had a tall figure and a graceful, enchanting posture. At that moment, a breeze came by, lifting the sheer veil at the door, revealing a glimpse of the woman's exquisite beauty. The woman's beauty was unmatched, flawless like frost and snow, her pale countenance revealing a touch of aloofness. She was like a goddess from the ninth heaven, a fairy descended to earth. At that moment, a woman dressed in purple cloud attire entered the room, exuding a dignified and elegant aura. The melodious sound of the zither ceased as the woman arrived, and the female zither player spoke, "Madam Lin, is there something you need?" The woman's voice was cool but also carried a hint of gentleness. The dignified woman asked, "Palace Master, do you really plan to go to North City?" Upon hearing this, Chen Wanrong stood up and walked slowly out of the veil-covered chamber, her saintly face came into view of the dignified woman. Chen Wanrong spoke softly, "Only with the fresh blood of some emperor's child can the subtle dragon spell be created, and the North Prince is the easiest prince to approach." As she heard this, a worried look appeared on the dignified woman's face, "But I've heard the North Prince is lustful, he keeps many servants in his residence for pleasure-seeking. If he takes a fancy to you..." The woman left her sentence unfinished. Gazing emotionlessly at the distant green hills, Chen Wanrong said indifferently, "People are easier to control when they have desires. I will plant the love worm in him, then manipulate him to help us complete the subtle dragon spell." Hearing this, the dignified woman sighed and then said, "He is Chu Yu's child, if possible, one hope you can spare his life in the end." Chen Wanrong offered no response, merely looking silently into the distance as a breeze blew by, swaying her dress continuously.